right, welcome back to the party, everybody. I'm your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch this, even though you missed the live party, guys. That is the best part. So make sure you are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe and ring the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. Let's also say thank you to my6shirt.com. Whatever your persuasion, they've got something for you. And of course, it is the only place to get your very own The Indian Jesus official merch. Only at my6shirt.com. All right. Everybody hit that like, hit that subscribe. You know I would do it for you. It is the price of admission. It is free to come and hang out, but just hit that subscribe button for me. It helps out so much. So how is everybody doing today? I know you guys love these middle ground videos, so let's not even F around. Let's get into it. You saw the thumbnail. Hey, we got Dustin in the building. Welcome to the party. Always love seeing new names. So Jesus Christ died for our sins. I am not convinced, but I am always with an open mind. We've also got Iris in the building. Welcome to the party. Definitely agree with you there, Dustin. Boycott Bud Light and Target COD. I don't really see what happened with Call of Duty, but all of that, absolutely. So let's jump right in. As always, guys, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
This is the 112th episode of Middle Ground, and we want you to help us decide what the next 112 episodes will be.
So we have the next middle ground. Of course, if you're not familiar, Jubilee does these middle ground panels where they will take two different groups of people, usually conflicting in ideology or something else. And then similar to Peter Boghossian and his street epistemology, they will have a prompt, and those who agree step forward, and then they'll talk about it. And then the people who disagree will then join the conversation. So today we have Black conservatives and white liberals. And yes, you may recognize the guy in the blue shirt. That is our boy Destiny without the blue hair. Blue shirt, but no blue hair. Welcome. And let's, so Dustin says, do you want to debate the facts that more evidence of Jesus Christ and him dying on the cross than any other historical figure? And why do you not think so? I would absolutely love to do that. Tonight we have something on deck, but what you should do is join our Discord server. Just drop the link in the chat there. That is where we get to have all kinds of conversations, and we can get into it there. And let's, if you'd like, we can bring it over here as well. Shout out to Jay. Welcome to the party. Indeed, it is an Izzy fight week. Very excited about that. But for right now, we are jumping into Black conservatives versus white liberals.
I was chosen to read the following prompt.
What is that? Okay, whatever. We're going to ignore that. So the first prompt is white Americans have way more advantages than Black Americans. So not just more, way more. And so again, we're going to see the people who agree with the statement are going to step forward, and the other people won't. Shout out to Daniel Cabrera. Welcome to the party. If you guys saw my recent video with the thumbnail, just America, but the Star Spangled Banner, that was Daniel who showed that to me. So thank you for that, and welcome to the party.
White Americans have way more advantages than Black Americans.
I think I'm a rarity here.
It would seem so.
Do white
Whenever you're ready, Dustin. Whenever you're ready.
Americans have more advantages because they're white, or do just white Americans have advantages because of historic factors? I think that people want to argue at the end of the day over whether it's because you're white or not. I think that the answer is because you're white in the past, and that's how it kind of carries over to today.
Shout out to Nick. Welcome to the party, brother. Said good afternoon. Hope everyone is doing well today. I am now that you are here, brother. Very glad to see you.
Even in times of the United States history where black people have tried to build wealth, you know, with the Tulsa riots and everything, where, yeah, that this wealth has been destroyed. And something that's upsetting to me is when conservatives talk about how we can't blame the past for what's happening in the present. That is true to some extent, but then the next breath they'll talk about how important it is to have dual parent households, how important it is to have a strong family, to have responsibility passed on from parent to child. And we've seen in the past that because of racial issues, that process has been severely disrupted.
Right there, guys. Right there. That is why, even though Destiny is absolutely in the progressive camp and he's a liberal and he supports Biden and all this stuff, that is why I respect him, because he is a true middle of the road type progressive. And they just don't really seem to exist. Like, you either see like the default liberals who don't pay attention to anything, and so they're like, oh, I guess the Republicans are still racist and whatever, orange man bad. And then you have people who are in the weeds and they're super, super far left. But Destiny seems to be, you know, he does have a lot of opinions that I don't agree with. But whenever you can have somebody that you don't agree with, but you can appreciate the way that they think, the logic that they use, that is somebody that is very, very, very valuable to you, because you can see you can see how they come to different conclusions. Like, when somebody's just crazy, when somebody's just stupid, like, it doesn't help to know what they think as much because it's just stupid. But when you have somebody that's like, oh, okay, I see how you got there, then it can open you up to understanding an entire swath of the population. Of course, shout out always, always, always. Yep, orange man bad. That's as far as it goes, right?
Funny thing is that agreeing with all these things is when I did my research when I was younger, which arrived me to my standpoint of being a conservative, because I believed it was racist, Democrat, liberal ideologies and policies dating all the way back to the 1800s, all the way up to the 1960s, and then the purported big switch. But I think it was more so when Democrats decided to be a bit more cloak and dagger about their true opinions of black people and be more secretive and more, oh, we want to help you by, you know, doing these things and seeing them as inferior.
Damn. Well said. That they became already have. If you have not, anybody else has not seen Sound of Freedom, definitely go do it. It is not a political film, despite what anybody will tell you. But you know, our what's his name, Chandler over here is laying the smackdown, doing exactly what we need to do. Establish that the Democrats are not, just because they say that they care about black people and minorities and this. Actions speak louder than words. Speaking of actions, if you can hit that like button, I would be so appreciative. Thank you.
Affirmative action, welfare, all sorts of things that eventually ruin our culture and place us where we are now.
So
but I want to get back to the history of it, because we're talking about...
Well, I just want to make sure we're clear. Giving them money hurt them, right? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yes, giving them, because if your father's out of the home, that's when we give you the money. If you're living in this housing...
So it's incentivizing the idea that if you break up the home, then you can get money. That's what he's responding to. But I will say, as much as he is, you know, saying all the things that I agree with, I feel like he's coming in a little too hot, which is what you'd expect from a younger dude. But you're already planting the seeds for, it doesn't say he's 18. Makes sense. You know, he's a little bit younger, and he's not really aware of the fact that, okay, I have to be, you know, sensitive to other people's, you know, just other people's thinking if I want them to listen to me. So that's the only thing I would say so far, but he is doing the damn thing. Nick says, you're totally right on that. We need people we can actually work with. Yeah, exactly. And that's how we do it, Dustin. Once you are here, you are part of the party. Welcome.
Give them the money while the dad's
rent free.
Well, then give them
let's see where we go.
Or giving them money hurt them, right? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yes, giving them, because if your father's out of the home, that's when we give you the money. If you're living in this housing,
so then give them the money while the dad's
rent free.
Well, then give them the money while the dad's in the home.
For what? Give them the money while the dad's still in the home. Give them the money while the dad's still in the home. For what? The idea, at least, when you're giving money to a single mother, is that they don't have the money to raise the child. But if they're together, then why are they getting money? Shout out to Sharon Pappy. Sorry if I messed up your name. Welcome to the party. Said, hello, great streamer. Well, thank you very much. Really appreciate your efforts and passion on your channel. I genuinely appreciate the time and energy you devote to maintaining your channel. Please keep it up. I would like to share some crucial information with you, so kindly add me on Discord. We have the link in the bio. I will drop it for you again. It is free to join. Feel free to do so. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We also got Shred Guy Travels in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Another awesome YouTuber. Definitely go check out his channel. Link also in the chat. What does Drag Guy Travel says? Going to see Sound of Freedom in an hour and a half while in Colombia. There you go. There you go. I will tell you to temper your expectations. Not because it's not a good movie, but if you are expecting to go see something, oh, super based, oh, own the libs, that's not what this movie is. No spoilers, but it's just a good movie. And so when you see it, you see the what the media has been saying about this movie, like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? But definitely enjoy. Doesn't says two parents doesn't change being poor. True, but I'm saying at least I don't think that, you should be incentivized to break up your family with money from the government. But I'm saying at least the logic is there. I don't agree with it, but at least the logic is there.
Yeah, if you're working this amount of hours and getting less than this amount of dollars, you're getting money from the government. Yes, it is incentivizing.
You're throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
I don't even know what that means in this scenario because, yes.
Okay. I thought he was going to say, I don't know what that means, but I'm still going to go ahead.
Hey, you want to talk about throwing babies out with the bathwater? Margaret Sanger wanted to exterminate the black race because she thought they were weeds. So yeah, we can literally talk about throwing the baby out with the bathwater. That's what Margaret Sanger, that's what Democrat policies wanted to do to my people. So that's why I feel.
You're right, bro. You're right, bro. But he never fought you on any of that. You gotta chill. Have the conversation. Stop trying to win an argument and just have the conversation.
So strongly about it because it is these policies that date back centuries that were built off of the death and poverty of my people.
Let's take a breath.
Is he really wearing a Hunter Biden shirt or hat? What? I mean, okay, cool, bro.
So
I'm breathing.
Okay.
So a lot of babies aren't, but I am. Sad.
Oh, a lot of babies aren't, but I am. That was a good line. But what is his name? The white little Alec here is right. Slow down, take it easy, take a breath. You're good. We're all just here to have a conversation. You're not going to fix anything by yelling it faster or louder. Let's talk to each other. Try God Travel says, two parents doesn't guarantee anything. Nothing in life is guaranteed, but it gives you a much better chance statistically than a single parent home. Absolutely. Nothing in life is guaranteed. All you can do is create an environment where the best possibility of opportunity and the least possibility of whatever the opposite. What's the opposite of an opportunity? Like where the least possibility of bad stuff happening. That's all you can do. That's all you can do.
I don't know what that means. When I say throw the baby out with the bathwater, you want to completely get rid of welfare. Okay, or at least the concern. I don't want to put that on you. You haven't said that, but
I was going to say he didn't say that. So what are you talking about?
The conservative apparatus does.
Nope. Wrong. So you're going to sit here in a Hunter Biden hat and say that, oh, all conservatives want to get rid of all welfare. No. As Tim Pool likes to say all the time, hey, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps is a great thing. But it's impossible if you don't have any boots. So I think as an American country, instead of spending billions of dollars to have a war somewhere, that we can make sure that everybody has the basics so that we can say, all right, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, do what you have to do. You have everything that you need. You have no excuses. Do it.
Clearly. So giving money to a group of people does not hurt them.
I mean, sure, if you're talking about a lottery, you just take money. But
yes.
there are strings attached to that money.
Take all the money.
Wrong. Like, look at any lottery winner. People who get free money don't treat it the way it should be treated. So you're just already on a false premise that giving money to people can't hurt them. It absolutely can.
Strings attached
Give
to
them
that
millions.
Money.
Make them all millionaires. I don't care. Giving money to black
care.
people does not hurt them.
And that has not happened, though. That has not happened.
What do you mean?
That has not happened. It hasn't been a reparation. It hasn't been this or that.
Again, too hot, Chandler. Chill out. He said, what do you mean? And you just repeated yourself. You have to have the conversation.
It has been a welfare program, Great Societies Act, that was built off of the idea of, hey, we get these families split up, we get these people living here.
So then let them keep the family together and keep all the money.
I mean, I guess so, but I guarantee you there's no way that would...
Yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. If you qualify for welfare, then I think that's perfectly fine that you are on that. But I think that it is too easy for people to stay on welfare much longer than they need to be. And the incentives are to stay on that, to stay on welfare instead of going to get a job, especially when kids are involved.
Why would you not advocate for that?
So in your, I guess, research of like history of this country and everything, do you find like the Reconstruction era and like the failures of like what it wanted to be and then what it ended up being, and then which led into, had downstream effects to enter into the Jim Crow era. And, you have policies like redlining that influence, how schools are funded. The downstream effects of slavery, do you think put Black people as generally in a worse off position than white Americans?
I think generation by generation, the effects of slavery have been diluted, but generation by generation, the effects of racism, welfare-based policies, and things of that nature became even more great. So in the
I didn't hear that again. I need to hear that again. Hold up.
In general,
I think he said something about how racism has gotten worse. Slavery has. I got to hear it again.
In a worse off position than white Americans.
I think generation by generation, the effects of slavery have been diluted.
Okay, the effects of slavery have been diluted. Agreed.
But generation by generation, the effects of racism, welfare-based policies, and things of that nature became even more great. So.
Yep. I think I agree with it. I just had to hear it one more time. Hey, shout out to Mike W. Welcome to the party. Said welfare is a stopgap, not your financial plan. That's what it's supposed to be. But unfortunately, again, it is way too easy for it to be the financial plan. Hey, we got Indyville. Welcome to the party. The one in the blue shirt. This is exactly why he colored his hair blue, so he could stand out from every other white liberal male. Welcome.
In the 1880s or so, when we had our first Black members of Congress, which were indeed Republicans, I think that was a great start for things. But obviously, we had terrible things that happened, like the Tulsa massacre, among Black people being chased out of their homes by the KKK.
Sure.
All funded by the Democrat Party, all supported by the Democrat Party.
Well, I need to stop you there. Can you attribute not to the party, but to the ideology? Because I think when you think...
I like that. Attribute to the ideology, not the party. It becomes too easy for things to get convoluted when you're talking about the libs or the Dems or the conservatives or Republicans. If you talk about the actual idea behind what you're talking about, then we can be a lot more clear and we can more easily avoid the stereotypes that people fall into of just, what the Hunter Biden hat dude said, that, conservatives just want to get rid of welfare completely, entirely. Like, I mean, maybe some people, but no, that's not a conservative talking point.
Regardless of whatever the party switch was, traditionally conservative values did not, that's more aligned with, more racist policies in this country.
It's very difficult to compare 2020's conservatism to 1880's conservatism.
All right. So then, as with the show, so the people who were standing in the back over here, they disagreed with the prompt that white Americans have way more advantages than Black Americans. So the people sitting down, they agreed with that, and these disagreeers are coming in to join the convo.
Oh, I was loving the 1v4.
And again, you can see, when I unpause it, you can see the thing that they're on up top.
So personally, I feel like there's really only one thing that white people have a true advantage over Black people with, and it's that white people are less likely to be forced into a box. It happens with Black people onto other Black people, but it especially happens with white liberals onto Black conservatives, where we are told that we are supposed to think a certain way, be a certain way, and if we're not, then we're called all these names like etc. And the worst of all is bootlicker, because I hate when a white liberal tells me as a Black man that I'm a bootlicker, because then I ask, whose boot am I licking? Because you're telling me as a white person that me as a Black person that I'm licking your boot because I don't think in this box that you want me to frame my mentality in.
That's a really interesting, that's really interesting in general, because usually we hear these types of talking points from liberals who are like just playing the race card. And he's here as a conservative, but that really shows that, you know, this it's not like racism is completely gone. There absolutely is racist aspects to our society, but I'm hoping at least that he is going to put those in reference to, you know, the actual arguments that leftists put forward as to systemic racism this, systemic racism that. I don't think he's going to go with that, but you know, it really does show that, like I said, that you know, being a different skin color does have different effects. What do we got here? Doesn't said, do you believe? Oh, you guys talking to each other? Cool. Yeah, Joe Biden, right?
Come on, man.
That to me is real racism. And that's what we need to stop allowing to happen to us, because black people are so quick now to not branch out and to have new ways of thinking, or to go into careers like agriculture and these other career paths that black people don't typically get into. It's not because of racism stopping them from getting in there. It's because we're told for so long that you have to follow this path and you have to think a certain way.
I think America is a great place for a black person. I think I'm an American. Anything that's available to you is available to me and mine.
Let's go, Renee. Let's go, Renee. What happened to that? We're all Americans. We're all equal. And that's that.
I've personally never experienced white people having way more privileges than me. Like, I'm sure you could find certain institutions where black people are treated differently. But in general, I don't think that I've missed out on anything because of being black. And if anything, it's given me more of a voice because people will want to hear what I say now because I'm black. So if anything, I have more of a platform now just on the basis of being a black conservative and saying what's not popular.
True. I mean, look at Candace Owens. You know, people take her as like what's the word? I don't remember the word. But, you know, like she's like the tokenism. There's that you're the black guy, woman, whatever, that's saying what we say. And so for better or worse, that gives you a little bit more empowerment
than I would if I was just a white person who was also conservative.
I agree with the Supreme Court's decision.
All right. So our next prompt, I agree with the Supreme Court's decision to end affirmative action. So interestingly, they have the community results, and only 33% said yes. Something tells me that we would have a little bit higher of a percentage on the yes here. But yeah, Dustin, absolutely, definitely, when they get told how to think all the time, that's racism. You know, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it's not good. Mike says Larry Elder is the black face of white supremacy. Yep. Thank you, Atlantic.
To end affirmative action.
So again, I agree with the Supreme Court's decision to end affirmative action.
I'm not going to start. Someone else can start. Sorry.
I think affirmative action has served its purpose. I think that it was necessary for a particular time. And I think that every black person knows how to get into college. Every black, I mean, you can pull out the names, the Oprah, President Obama. You can pull out the head of Time Warner was black man, the Forbes was black man. We know what to do now. We don't need affirmative action anymore. And to me, affirmative action is offensive sometimes, especially nowadays, because I have 6 children and 2 boys, 4 girls. And all of them went to Harvard and Columbia and this one and that one. And it breaks my heart to think that they accomplished that goal of getting into these institutions just because of the color of their skin.
I can definitely say that it creates a lot of tension when you have affirmative action. I remember my first week at the University of Illinois, I was sitting with some classmates and a white student turned to me and jokingly like, "Hey, Xavier, like, did you just attach a smiley face when you applied for this college?" And I started asking what he meant. And he said to me that he was like, "You're black. I'm assuming you had decent grades. You could have just attached a smiley face and you would have gotten into the university." So
like attach a smiley face instead of like an essay. I don't get it. But so yeah, if you're anybody else is not familiar, this was a not word for word, but you know, blackface or white supremacy. This was a literal news article. I believe it was from The Atlantic, when they called Larry Elder, a black man, the black face of white supremacy. And as you guys who are here all the time know, that that is textbook semantic obfuscation, taking words and twisting them to mean something that they don't mean so that you can win an argument. How can he be a white supremacist if he's black.
I was livid by that, and I went off. I started naming all of my accomplishments, and I felt so confident only for about an hour. Because then an hour later, I started saying to myself, like, wow, like, did I actually earn my way in here? I started to have this insecurity, and I started wondering to myself, did I earn this position myself, or did my ancestors' suffering earn this for me?
You'll never know. You'll never know with affirmative action.
And two, I've seen it in the sense of like affirmative action taking away from other people who are minorities. Like I had a friend who was Asian and he in high school and he really wanted to go to MIT. That was his dream school. He interned there. He was super like prepared to go there and he didn't get in. And you can only assume that it was because of affirmative action because they have such a large Asian population that they want to admit other.
Yeah, I mean, Asians have to do way more to get into the same schools just because there's so many Asians who are good enough to get into this school. Again, not news to you guys. I know you know this, but it is always worth repeating that racism is alive and well, specifically within the Democratic Party. Oh yeah! Shout out to Try Guy Travels. Happy Labor Day to everyone. Hope you are enjoying your day off.
People.
Yeah, I was going to actually argue that it's more racist nowadays because it excludes so many Asian Americans from getting into universities who do deserve a spot and they can't get in because of affirmative action, which again, like you were saying, was necessary at the time.
Yeah.
But now it's like anybody, if you have the skills to do it and you're in America, you can get in.
I don't think affirmative action is the worst thing, considering all the different types or aspects of a background you might take
This is Destiny Indie Film, by the way.
into account when somebody's getting into college, whether they were in certain clubs, you know, Boy Scouts, what type of classes they took. That might not be available to everybody. I don't think that factoring in the affirmative action is necessarily a bad thing, but I feel like because of everything you guys have said, the optics behind it are so horrible today that even if it is slightly beneficial in the long run for certain people, I think we can probably refocus most of that into figuring out like the class that people come from, the neighborhoods, the backgrounds or whatever, without it having to necessarily target race. The only thing that I kind of wonder now that it's gone is instead of a black person being in school thinking like, man, am I here because I'm an affirmative action pick? Is it going to be a kid that is poor or a kid that's from a different zip code?
I think we should do away with all of it. It's just like submit an application, no demographics. Why do they ask your sexuality? Like, why do they ask all that stuff?
That's an interesting point, but I don't think that really follows because, you know, being poor and getting an opportunity that has to do with money is a very different dynamic than getting money because of your skin color. I think that, you know, if people who are poor they're aware that they're poor. Like it's not like, you know, it's unknown that they wouldn't be able to afford this otherwise. So if the person is poor and they only got in because they're poor, that doesn't mean that it's any less valuable. They still got in based on their merits. It's just the money part. Whereas when we're talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, then you get into whatever. But I completely agree. Get rid of all of it and merit. Shout out again to Nick. Happy. Dustin says, I'll get a day pass. I prefer to talk to the crazy ones. And Discord. Yeah, man, come and join up. We go and have an after party right after this where we can definitely talk about whatever you like and you're not stuck behind your keyboard. Actually on screen with me and everybody else. It is a grand old time. Come and join us. Disagreeers coming forward. Hey, we got Doodad Attack in the building. Welcome to the party. Iris says Texas has it where the top 10% of every school is favored across the board. There you go. Merit. People who actually deserve something, who deserve the reward. People who worked for what they got. It's not complicated.
If affirmative action accomplished its purpose, why do we still see the disparities that we do in the professional workplace? If you average white wealth and compare it to black wealth totals, white people as a whole have about 50 times greater wealth.
All right, 50 times greater wealth. We'll just say in the United States, the average black and Hispanic or Latino households earn about half as much as the average white household and own only about 15 to 20% as much net worth from the Federal Reserve
than black people as a whole per capita. So I just don't understand why you think affirmative action has accomplished its purpose. I don't see that.
Curious. Why do you assume that?
Wait, I thought they said it didn't, which is why they agreed with the decision to end it. that it didn't accomplish what it was supposed to accomplish.
Just because there is a disparity means it's because of a racial issue.
Bingo!
Let's not forget, disparity does not mean discrimination. Just because there's a difference doesn't mean that it's racist.
What else would it be from?
I mean,
Upbringing, economic abilities,
Desire to
skills.
go, desire to.
I mean,
So
zip
it
code
was their
does
fault
play
then.
a lot. If you grow up in a neighborhood that experiences a lot of trauma, you're not as likely to.
Shout out to JH. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. So the whites been able to be rich longer. Technically, yes, very true. And then Indie Film says, great. Now do the NBA and the NFL and the MLB.
Do as well in school, which means you're.
Why did they grow up in a neighborhood that experiences a lot of trauma?
I mean, lots of people do.
Yes,
live in
but
a-
why specifically do more black people?
Really? Really, Hunter Biden? You think more black people live in poor conditions than white people?
Government assistance programs.
Government assistance programs, like what?
Try redlining.
I mean, you can go into that if you'd like to, but let's
What?
take
It
a
is
look
relevant.
at the Great Societies Act, which was created to kick black fathers out of the home and get black mothers on welfare assistance. These things aren't beneficial for economics. These things aren't beneficial for actually paving a way for success for black children and black families. I mean, reducing a 2-family household to a 1-family household isn't going to make them the richest man in the world. It isn't even going to get them out of high school. Nonetheless,
You mean
the ability
parent.
to even get to college.
You mean
Yeah,
two-parent?
the child, yes, but a 2-parent household
Yeah.
in comparison to a 1-parent household, that child is not going to be nearly as successful. That child is more disposed to being sent into prison by doing crimes or not doing very well in school. So how are they even supposed to get that, that wealth disparity shrunk if they aren't even able to get out of the community that is causing these problems for them?
Yeah, and this is always what we talk about. This is a money problem, not a race problem. There is an overlap, but that disparity does not mean discrimination. Shout out to Melted Mind Media. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Another awesome YouTuber. Just did a collab with him. Definitely go check that out on his channel. Just drop the link in the chat. Welcome, brother. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Something I think that this conversation illustrates is
Damn, yo, can we get them likes up, please? We got 14 of y'all in here and only 6 likes, please. Just 3 more. Just 3. Thank you so much, guys.
like affirmative action is literally the very end of the line of a lot of different parts of a person's life. And by that point, trying to rectify all of the inequities that have existed, to try to remedy any of that at the very end with affirmative action, it might
Not gonna happen.
just be too broad a brush, and maybe we'd be better served focusing on the earlier issues than trying to throw a kid who maybe can barely read at a 6th grade level into a college to hope that that's the thing that fixes the problem at the end of the line.
I think affirmative action
Base
wasn't
destiny.
really supposed to like send kids to Harvard that weren't prepared to go to Harvard. I think that's
But what else? What is the other alternative? What is the other alternative? If you're taking well, I mean, they're not children, but if you're taking kids who otherwise did not qualify based on their merit, then you exactly are trying to send kids that are not prepared to go to Harvard. That's precisely what it is. Dustin says you have to work hard out of it. Out of it. Like most of us have to. No one gave me money. Yeah, and I mean, I am very lucky to have been born into a family where I didn't have to struggle like that. And it's something that I didn't even really realize how much of an advantage it was until later in life. And that's exactly it. You have to deal with what you have. And just because I have those issues I didn't have in my life doesn't mean there's not other issues that I had to overcome. We all have our ish, and you just gotta deal with it. Be a man and deal with it. Indie Film says before the racist Johnson's Great Society destroyed the black family, things were way different. Yep. Mike W says Asians are kicking everyone's butt economically. Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah. Jay says in life you need opportunities and hard work. That is well said. You need both. Opportunities are not as easy to come by for some people than others. But as long as you have your eyes open, as long as you are prepared to take advantage of an opportunity when it does present itself, you're good. You might not have as many opportunities. That's kind of what Destiny was just saying, that there's, different things, and some people start at different places in life, and the family that you're born into, the country that you're born into, the society that you're born into, that's all going to be, different for different people. But at the end of the day, it's the equality of opportunity. As long as you have the opportunity and the willingness to work hard, there is no reason why you shouldn't be able to succeed.
Quite a myth, in fact. I think those that have the qualities to get to Harvard were, before affirmative action, could just completely overlooked, you know.
Thank you for the likes, guys. Much appreciated.
Clarence Thomas is like the perfect example, you know, regardless of what you think about him. He was able to get to Harvard because of affirmative action, because, you know, it focused on finding people that were, you know, again, like just overlooked for those.
But things.
Real quick, Dustin, you're not the only one. Don't worry about it. Yeah, you're far from the worst one. You're far from the worst one.
It ended up changing. It morphed into something else. So what started out as a good program of giving all Black people, or people with a lesser chance or lesser opportunity, it started out as that, and then it morphed it, and I'm not sure who morphed it, but it morphed into, okay, so now we have to have one Black, one Hispanic, one this, one that.
That's not how that works.
But hey, talk to the corporations, talk to the people who hire.
She's spot on. How is that not how it works? That is exactly how it works. There was something, I forget what it was. I think it was a show about someone somewhere in Europe, and people were all upset that the whole cast was white. It was like a period piece. It's like, bro, there just wasn't Black people there. What do you want? What do you want? And everyone says, wow, that's pretty racist to say that Clarence Thomas couldn't go into Harvard without affirmative action. And again, we will never know. We will never know. I mean, seems to me like he's got a good head on his shoulders. Why wouldn't he? But we will never know. Jay says Harvard is based off the character because everyone looks the same, high grades and such. It's what stands out. Yeah, the extracurriculars, right?
Talk to the board members who say we need to have a woman on the board, we need to have a Black on the board, we need to have a Latina, a Latinx, whatever on the board.
Latinx.
So it morphed from helping us into now
tokenization.
Yes.
Yup.
So you have to have one of this, one of that.
Diversity hire.
Well, when you start with a country where people only hire you if you're white, that's necessary. And I know that you said that it started good.
Is it though? As any film brought up before, things were not always this way, and Black people were there was definitely differences in society, but the Black community was doing way better before all of this forced diversity came about. Jay says we need to have a Black on the board. Sounds like an object.
Good, and then ended whatever. And I don't think that affirmative action was perfect by any measure, but we still see really, really bad inequality. So if you're going to get rid of affirmative action, what's the replacement?
We don't need a replacement because, again, disparity does not mean discrimination. Again, look at the NBA or the NFL. You don't seem to be worried about diversity there. It's just the best people get the best jobs.
Meritocracy.
There's no meritocracy
Yes,
in this
it
country. You look at Elon Musk. He's destroying Twitter. There's no meritocracy.
Put a 1 in the chat if you think Twitter is worse after Elon. No, didn't think so.
That's ridiculous.
Well, first thing I want
That is ridiculous.
to bounce back to is it's not a myth that there are like minorities that are being put into colleges that they're not ready for. If you look at a lot of these top universities, including Harvard, Yale, etc., you're going to see a lot of minorities on academic probation because they're.
That's a good question, actually. Yeah, what does Twitter have to do with this? Rich man did something, so therefore socialism. That's pretty much the logic there. I'm sure Clarence Thomas had the grades to get into Harvard. How? How are you sure? You're not. You will never know. You will never be able to know that. Let's run this back.
Minorities that are being put into colleges that they're not ready for. If you look at a lot of these top universities, including Harvard, Yale, etc., you're going to see a lot of minorities on academic probation because they are being placed in universities that they are not ready for. They are not cut out for that just yet. And it even just makes sense if you look at how much they have to achieve in order to get there. Asian students on average have to score 450 points higher than a Black student in order to get in the same university.
Damn! 450 points higher. So it says here from the National Study of College Experience led by Espenshade and Radford of 2009, a student who self-identifies as Asian will need 140 SAT points higher than whites 320 points higher than Hispanics and 450 points higher than African Americans. That's like half the damn test. That's like, maybe not, maybe like a quarter, but it's a significant portion of the entire test. I know people who got 450 on the SATs in general. Jay said, bro, if they're not ready for university, why would they apply there? Because there's a lot of benefits for having Harvard on your resume. What do you mean? You wouldn't go to Harvard if you could get the chance? You can get any job in the world after that. I mean, and like, it's not really about grade point average. As long as you pass, you get the degree. So, I mean, why wouldn't you? Doesn't says, you know what I mean, right? College was a brainwashing center. Hard life, I gained a lot more. Yeah. I mean, it's a very soft, squishy, soft world in college. Everything is kind of done for you, and it is good for development in terms of getting out of your parents' house, especially the kids who kind of didn't really do much. If you know what I mean, if you were a teenager and you got into some stuff, then maybe you don't really need that as much. But there's a lot of kids who were just like goody two shoes and just, oh, mommy said this, then daddy said that, and whatever. So it is good for that, but it doesn't prepare you for life. It just teaches you the things that you might need for a particular job. And so if you're not going into a STEM field, then it's just a big party. Now, don't get me wrong. I have a degree in psychology, and I loved those 4 years of partying. But that's what it was.
So if you think of the universities that have courses, et cetera, that grade on a curve, you can only have so many people with an A, so many people with a B, et cetera. So that means that the bottom percentile is going to fail. Who is most likely, just based on logic, going to be the ones failing? It's going to be the people who didn't have the credentials to get there in the first place. And then I have to bounce back to.
I want to get you on that point, because I
want to get you on that point. Wording matters, bro. Again, stop trying to win and just have the conversation.
I would posit that the people who are least likely to have good outcomes in an academic setting are those who have to work 2 jobs, are those who have to drive there from home because they can't afford a dorm, are those who have to go into crippling financial debt. These are and have other stresses in their life. They can't afford a doctor, they can't afford a dentist, they can't afford anything.
I had to do that too, though.
Those are the
people. That's not just Black people. It's not just.
But it's overwhelmingly.
If we're looking at straight numbers, there are more.
Hey, shout out to, we got somebody on Kick. Sorry. Shout out to God of Water. Welcome to the party. Said, unfortunately, I can't pull up the Kick chats just yet. But God of Water says, hello. Here's a friendly reminder for you to remember to drink your water. Thank you, sir, and welcome to the party. Needed that. Thank you.
White people in poverty than Black people.
If you look at the raw numbers, but if you actually understand what you're talking about.
No number is wrong.
See, again, Chandler is being too hot. He's coming in too hot. Dude said if you look at the raw numbers. Well, what's the wrong numbers? Chill out, bro. Chill out.
General, though. I don't think it's like who's in poverty. It's like poverty sucks.
Maybe we should make college free. And maybe we want to have affirmative action wouldn't be that necessary.
It'll get even more ghetto.
If you have a program that says if you are under a certain income level, this is how we'll help you, that will overwhelmingly help Black people at a far greater percentage than it will help white people.
Let me hear that one. Wait.
That will, if you have a program that says if you are under a certain income level, this is how we'll help you, that will overwhelmingly help Black people at a far greater percentage than it will help white people.
Percentage? Yeah, sure. Okay. I don't really know what the big point was there, though. But yeah, he is definitely obnoxious. But Dustin says, promise if I tell you my life secrets, you will not post it. Let me tell me what you think about my issues. Yeah, man. Like I said, we get deep and all that stuff in the Discord. Join us, and what happens in Discord stays in Discord. Mike says the white liberals in college should give their spots to Black kids and pay their tuition if they believe in an affirmative action. Yeah, right. That's never going to happen. Never. So now we are going to the next prompt, saying Trump supports Black lives, not Black Lives Matter. Black lives, not capitalized.
Trump supports Black lives.
So only 2 conservative. Okay, and our Hunter Biden friend.
I think that President Trump supports all lives. I think that he looks at all American citizens as equal. I don't see him doing anything that would make you feel like he does not support Black lives. That's, of course, going to lead into the conversation of Black Lives Matter, which was a movement and an organization with so much corruption.
So wait, Jay, are you saying no, Trump doesn't support Black lives? Or are you saying, yeah, is that what you're saying?
Donald Trump not supporting that organization doesn't mean that he doesn't support Black lives. It just means that he doesn't support the fraudulent organization that's stealing so much money from so many people to do absolutely nothing with it, nor does he support a destructive movement that is destroying cities, communities, lives, etc.
Bingo!
Yeah, that's the difference about, it's not the same thing to say I care about Black lives and to say I support Black Lives Matter. Oh, with the the poll here, we had our poll. Do you take Destiny more seriously without the blue hair? And 72% of you said no. So that either means you still don't take him seriously, despite the fact he doesn't have blue hair, or you took him seriously even when he did have blue hair. And I'm thinking it's the former.
So I don't see why someone would think that President Trump doesn't support Black lives.
Yeah, I mean, what is he? And I know that he's going to have a list of, all of the same talking points we hear all the time, Mexicans and grab them by the whatever. And then he's going to bring out all of those lines. But of course, we know that those are, again, obfuscated by the media to make it seem like it means something it doesn't mean.
I've heard him say he knows all the best Black people. He has all the best Black friends. I do support Black people all the time.
Maybe he does.
So sorry, that was a very bad impression, but
yeah,
I don't think Donald Trump wants bad things to happen to Black people. So in that respect, I think he does support Black lives. But the other side of that is he's not really doing anything. He didn't do anything as president, certainly, to uplift Black people.
The economy affects Black people.
Yeah.
Based. Exactly. The economy affects Black people. These liberals think that the only way to help Black people or uplift Black people is to pander and say, oh, poor baby, the white man is doing this and white people are doing that and you're so oppressed and blah, 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 blah. Like, no, dude, that's not helping people. Making a better country so that you're talking about how poor these people are and how hard it is for these people to do that. Making it easier for them is supporting their lives. That is what it is. Yeah, he's gone into impersonating now. Like, come on. Shout out to Xander Crew. Welcome to the party. Said, I wish people would always add the Inc. or Corp after Black Lives Matter when referencing the movement and company. Too many people emotionally react to the name and overlook the actions of the organization. That is not a mistake. That is exactly what they wanted. That is precisely what they wanted. That is a perfect example of semantic obfuscation. Welcome to the party, brother. Glad to see you. Dustin said got blown up in Iraq, and they told me, but I don't remember it. 10 years past, my wife leaves. She takes kids, the house, everything. I got one bag and said I hit her, and the kids found innocent, but damage was done. Damn, brother. I am sorry to hear that you went through all of that, but hopefully you are working your way back. Hopefully. Daniel says you have to give them money. If they make the money on their own, it doesn't count. Yeah, it doesn't count. It's not real money. It's just monopoly money.
I certainly disagree with that point. One of the biggest things I supported personally. Well, yeah, we'll get into that one later. One of the biggest things he did is he secured permanent funding for HBCUs, one of the largest increases we ever saw for HBCUs, personally done by his administration, among many other things. The First Step Act, which, there's a lot of debate about whether it was really the best thing to do, but that was definitely a kiss of love to the Black race.
I'll take his word for that.
Freeing Alice Johnson for menial drug crimes she committed in the past that had her locked up. She did not get to see her family for years.
Yeah, but that's not okay, I did say I agree, but I agree in the sense that Donald Trump doesn't literally want bad things to happen to Black people, like I think a lot of conservatives do. So
Again, bro, what makes you think that being conservative has anything to do with wanting bad things to happen to a particular race? This is straight up brainwashing. What would make you think that? I don't get it.
I think that he just says the most
Yeah. You saw that. Look at that. Look.
Trump doesn't literally want bad things to happen to black people, like I think a lot of conservatives do. So I think that he just says the most yeah, I do think that. I think that.
You notice how you saw the dude's face and you had to say, yeah, I do think that. As if, number one, it's something to be proud of. And number two, as if it's something normal. It is not at all. What are you talking about?
He says the things that will get him elected.
Here we go.
So I don't think that he has any personal grudges against most people. He just says the most popular thing. So I think like Ron DeSantis would be, Ron DeSantis would be somebody that I think actually wants black people to be hurt. So by that standard,
to be hurt? Hold on. It doesn't says the pain is what kids are going through. I'm winning, but she told my kids the man she cheated on me with was their dad, and their last name is legally his. My name, but wow, that's I'm really sorry to hear that, brother. But yeah, this guy is ridiculous. This guy is just it's like a meme. He's not a real person. He doesn't have any real opinions. I guarantee you he doesn't know any person in real life who is at all right of center. I mean, listen to this BS.
He just says the most popular thing. So I think like Ron DeSantis would be, Ron DeSantis would be somebody that I think actually wants black people to be hurt. So by that,
like, do you not think that there's black people in Florida? What are you talking about?
Standard, Donald Trump supports Black lives by leaps and bounds.
You think Donald Trump says the most popular thing?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Then why do so many people hate him?
Yeah, right? Everything that comes out of his mouth, people hate it. That's what TDS is. So if he's saying the things that are popular, then why do you hate him? Unless you are saying that you hate what's popular. Make it make sense.
He got elected as president.
Yeah, exactly. So wouldn't that mean that if he was saying things that are just popular, that didn't have any meaning, that he wouldn't be president?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He didn't win the popular vote. Neither time.
That's a liberal talking point. That's a liberal talking
I'm
point.
helping you here.
Yeah,
I'm trying to see the logic in this. Obviously,
okay, at least I'm not the only one confused. At least I am not the only one confused. Senator says legit white liberals are the true enemy of this country. Let's not be racist. But also, Meldamine Media says they have to think they're the underdogs. Yep, there's always a victim mentality. The victim mentality.
He says things to be elected as a politician very similarly to how Joe Biden did, except Joe Biden actually has a history of racism.
If he said things that people didn't like, he wouldn't have been our president.
So you like everything that Donald Trump says? You think everything he says is popular?
I love a lot of the things he says. I think he's hilarious. When he said big water, that was one of my favorite quotes. Big water.
Water, big water, ocean water.
What are you doing, bro?
He has the funniest one-liners, so I love a lot of things
True.
he says. As far as policy, he sucks, but
I'm just shocked you're wearing a Hunter Biden hat. He likes a different kind of one line.
A different kind of one line never stops at one either. Yeah, I don't know. This guy is he's just running his mouth, and I hope that they get to a place where they can nail down a little bit more on what is it that you actually do think, because he's very good at saying this is bad, that is bad, that is bad, that is bad. But what do you actually stand for? Besides Hunter Biden.
I know conservatives love talking about his.
No, Coke. It's different. Coke, not.
He thought he said cock. He thought he said cock. You got cock on the brain, bro? Xander said, wow, that black guy is brutal. Love him. Yeah, he's doing the damn thing. All right, so this is the disagreeers. These people walking forward disagree with the prompt that Trump supports Black lives.
Is less of the issue and more so the people that support him, like Die Hard. They facilitate that kind of like hate, I think, for a lot of people, not just Black people, but like.
I mean, this man took out like a full page in a newspaper calling for the public execution of 5 Black kids. His hotels, all of his businesses have rampant history of denying Black people apartments or whatever. So
I forgot about that. I should not have stepped forward.
Look, I mean, Donald Trump cares about Donald Trump. So
I agree. I think at the end of the day, Donald Trump cares about Donald Trump. But the fact is that Donald Trump is an American. And Donald Trump cares about his country because it's his country. Not because he cares about me, not because he cares about you or anybody else. But that is exactly why he is the best leader that we've had in my lifetime. Because he's willing to just say, F all of you, I want a good country. So I'm going to do what we got to do. Red hair and red flag. Red flags! Yeah, but I mean, that's it's just crazy. Like these are I struggle to even find the words as to how basic this actually is. Danny Cabrera says, in other words, the Valley Girl didn't want to answer the question. The way it was asked, she wanted to answer her way. It's not Trump so much as it is his supporters. Yeah, basket of deplorables, right?
I don't think he really cares about anyone, I guess, unless you're like super rich or whatever.
When you look at his history on
True, yeah, him and his kids, his family, that's I completely believe that's all he cares about. And that's totally fine. Because if you're going to use that selfishness to drive your personal agenda, which happens to make all of our lives better, I'm here for it.
Racial issues, whether it's the shithole countries comment, the plethora of comments he made about Mexican people, just the comments he's made about Muslims.
I expected this from Hunter Biden. I did not expect this from Destiny. Destiny, you know better. I know you know that he didn't say those things. So why are you doing this?
The idea that Trump cares at all about some particular racial minority, I think is a little bit silly. I think Trump will say whatever he needs to say to rile up his base and to get elected.
I don't necessarily think those statements come from a place of hatred. I don't think he was ever saying specifically, oh, if you pray 5 times a day towards the east or towards Mega based on wherever you are, you're a bad person. I think he was saying if you like to fly planes into towers or behead people or throw people off of buildings, maybe you're not the most virtuous person out there.
I supported Trump because he made the economy good. And so the economy then impacted Black people, white people, Latino people, it impacted everybody. But Trump, he didn't think specifically, I don't think, about Black people. He thought about himself, and he thought about how can I make America great for me, and making and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go with this guy. And the reason I'm gonna go with this guy is because if he can make America great and he can make that it rise for everybody, I'm gonna benefit from that. So that's why I went, and that's why I voted for him. That's why I supported him.
There you go, Renee. Anyfilm says, are we just gonna sit here and accept this notion that he called for 5 Black kids to be executed and that all his properties are anti-Black? It's insane. Lies. Destiny is a grifter. So I don't think that is true about Destiny. I think he is in the same way that he, or rather, despite the fact that he says a lot of things that, you know, align with things that we think, he's still in his epistemic bubble of thinking that all of these things are true. So there, I do, again, I don't know, because he definitely, like I said, he definitely knows that. Maybe he is grifting. Maybe he's grifting. Maybe he's grifting. Shame, shame, shame. Destiny is the one in the blue shirt right here. Daniel says, let's be clear. He did say those things. He didn't say them about the entire population of Mexico. Nope. He said them about the people in Mexico to whom it applies. That's it. She got there eventually. Yep. Yeah, Destiny's the guy in the blue shirt. He is he's probably the biggest between him and Jenks' nephew. He's like the biggest lefty YouTuber.
How does that specifically benefit Black people? Again, he's a businessman, but he's also a racist businessman, like well documented. So
the question, you keep saying that. You keep just saying things, but you have to explain what you mean and provide evidence for your claim. Otherwise, you're just talking shit.
So, like,
and Biden's not. Biden's not.
Yes, he is. He created the crime bill. So that's regardless of the point.
Address the Central Park 5. That's what you brought up, right? How do you feel about that?
Well,
he took
actually,
a full page out after they were
so I haven't.
He wanted them to be killed, executed, just because they were Black.
I want to look into that a little bit further. Trump Central Park 5. Because I don't remember exactly So, all right, let's see. No, they're gonna. So let's see what USA Today. Let's just go with this for now. And see what they. So this is from 2019. They admitted their guilt. 30 years of Trump's comments about the Central Park Five. Trump repeatedly commented on a case wrongly accused of a group of black and Latino men assaulting a white female jogger in Central Park in 1989. Trump's comments surrounding the case resurfaced following the Netflix series. The five here, they were found innocent after the crime convicted Matias Reyes in 2002. I want to hear, what did he actually say, though? Trump, now person has doubled down on his stance and they were somehow involved. Yeah, I don't remember. Less than 2 weeks after the attack, Trump took out a full-page ad in 4 New York City newspapers with the headline, "Bring back the death penalty, bring back our police." The $85,000 worth of ads were published on May in '89. New York Times claimed that. At what point did we cross the line from fine and noble pursuit of genuine civil liberties to the reckless and dangerously permissive atmosphere, which allows criminals of every age to beat or pay a helpless woman and then laugh at her family's anguish? You continue in the ad. They should be forced to suffer when they kill. They should be executed for their crimes. They must. So I mean, I gotta be honest. I don't remember this going on, and I don't remember the context around it. But the notion I get is that he was talking about crime in general. Like, crime had gotten bad by 2019, very much so, and due to Trump's policies before lockdowns, we were actually doing pretty well. So that's just for me taking one look at one USA Today article, but you know, Melton My Media said so well documented. I don't have to show the documents. Lefty is gonna lefty, right? Well documented. This is CNN. Yep, that's facts. That's facts. We know that Biden has been openly, flagrantly racist over and over, and recently, not since the 90s, not since the 70s. We're talking in the last 5 years.
Story.
And he bars people from attending his businesses or like renting apartments from all his like stupid Trump towers. I
think Trump at that point was, like many people in this room, particularly liberals, a victim of the media. I think he was scared. I think he was ashamed of the things that he heard in the news and wanted to take action himself as a businessman, not as a racist.
Yeah, I think that's what we're all saying here is that Trump didn't say, I want these kids to be executed because they're. No, he's saying that if you do these horrible crimes, that you should have to pay the price. Dustin, yeah, similar to the MS-13 comments. It makes sense. Again, I don't know. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. Send a link of whatever, but doesn't seem like that egregious. Xander Cruz says, how interesting that the economy was rising so beautifully gets destroyed by a foreign vague virus. Such perfect timing, he says. Oh, yeah, it's just a great coincidence. It's just a great coincidence. Melton My Media said, well, who commits the majority of crime? So that makes him racist. Yeah, it's Trump's fault that more black people do crimes per capita than white people. And then we can all remember, if you don't know whether you're voting for me or Trump, you ain't black.
Come on, man.
Why? Like, what are we talking about? Of course, Biden is more racist than Trump. Is Trump somebody who is going to do everything that any black person wants? Like, no, but that's not what we're talking. Like, what are you talking about?
infantilizing him.
I don't like also real quick because people keep bringing up this comparison to the '93 crime bill from Biden. That crime bill, this was at the height of like violent crime and the crack epidemic in the United States. The Congressional Black Caucus supported that crime bill.
True.
Everybody in the United States supported that crime bill. The idea that that crime bill was like some racist piece of legislation that Biden was just wheeling out because he hates black people, and that's somehow comparable to the Donald Trump's treatment of the Central Park Five that were already exonerated. That wasn't a victim of the media. The media said they were done. They were exonerated in court. They weren't there.
Right, but again, if we're saying it's not about the Central Park Five, it's about the crimes that were committed, whether it was these 5 people or any other 5 people, that is, without naming anything or anyone, that is the most reasonable assumption. Occam's razor. The conclusion with the least amount of assumptions necessary is usually the right one.
Stated the prosecutor of the 5, he was a black guy, and so in being a black guy, he went and he looked at all the evidence and said these guys are guilty.
Black people can also be racist against other black people.
Or just make mistakes.
So if anybody does anything you disagree with in regards to the Central Park Five, even if they themselves are a black person, they're just a self-loathing black person, they're just a racist black person.
If they disagree
that
with me, they're
prosecutor
racist.
was doing his job.
That's my policy. If they disagree with me, they're racist.
I like that.
I think
Who thinks he's joking? He's saying it like a joke, but that is literally exactly what he thinks.
I think Trump has shown a history of.
What is wrong? Like, why are you? Can you sit up? There's a camera. You're being broadcast to millions of people.
Ignorant at best and racist at worst behavior. I didn't vote for him or Hillary because I just don't see him as a conservative hero. I don't even think he's a conservative.
Fake conservative. I voted Trump in 2016, just so you all know.
Oh, bro, you voted for Trump? That makes everything that you're saying totally rational, I guess? No, it means nothing. It means that you probably just voted that way because the people around you were voting for Trump. And then now the people around you are probably voting for Biden. That would be my guess. It said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't Indian.
What?
Doesn't quite work the same, does it?
So, I'm just saying.
So I'm just saying, bro.
I need you to elaborate on if people disagree with you, they're racist, just in general.
I was just kidding.
You were not just kidding. You were not just kidding. A little bit of truth, kernel of truth in every joke.
Yeah.
You never know.
Just like
One
the
of those
hat.
kind of moments.
Sorry if I triggered you. I'm sorry.
You made a point.
Oh my God. People like this are insufferable. Insufferable. Sorry if I triggered you. You got triggered. Like, no, you said a stupid thing that people responded to. That's not what being triggered means. And film said, of course he voted for Trump in 2016 because he thought Trump was a racist like him. Got him.
You made a point
Okay.
a couple minutes back where you said he just kind of says these things to rile up his base. Why does he need to do that at the expense of black people then?
He doesn't do that at the. I am a member of his base, and I'm sitting there like, oh man, this is amazing. And I don't know. You can call me.
Oops. He's a black guy. Did you forget? Let me guess. You're colorblind. You don't see color like that.
So
Self-loathing,
you're saying calling for the
I'm probably
public
stupid.
execution of 5 black men that were exonerated to
When has
rile
he
up
done
his
that
base.
during the campaign trail? He didn't do that when he was a politician.
Well,
he did that when
again,
he was a
it's
scared businessman
everything.
in New York.
It's
feeling
everything
bad.
Steve said about the comments about Muslims, the comments about Mexican immigrants.
I told you. I told you they were coming. You cannot have a conversation with a liberal about Trump without them bringing up these quote unquote quotes, these quote mind misquotes. Come on. Ultimate Media said, guy with the glasses and black hair looks like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Oh my God. What was that guy's name? I forget. But he left Hollywood to be a dad. Shout out to him. And shout out to Xander Crew with the $10 super chat. And of course, every single donation comes with a treat for Morty. He says, thank you so much. Xander Cruz says, the truth is toxic nowadays. We need a social movement back to truth. Absolute truth. Not my truth, not your truth, the truth. Exactly. This is why when I talk to people about, like specifically, Peter Boghossian talks about this, yes, Rick Moranis, thank you, sir. When I talked to Peter Boghossian and I brought up that he was like, well, not all beliefs are the same and not all delusions are the same, and this benevolent Christianity, might not be so bad and whatever. No, I'm sorry, but when we accept that working on wrong or incomplete information is a virtuous and just good way to live, we have lost the plot. We need to get back to the truth. Thank you again. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream.
Why does
never about Mexican immigrants, never about Muslims, about terrorists and about criminals and rapists. These are very important delineations to make. And if you believe that when you offend the media about, it's all Mexican immigrants, I think it's more of you being, oh man, these poor Mexicans, they need to be supported. It's more of that savior complex. Wow,
what was
we're
the
back
rationale
again.
behind?
Now, think about if our boy here, what's his name, Chandler, I think, if he had come in and been a little bit more chill in the beginning, if he had been a little bit more chill in the beginning, and now he was like, boom, 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 boom with his points, how much more, how much harder would it have hit? This is why you want to save that. Exactly. Thank you, Chandler. This is a similar, for those of you who don't know, I am a professional dog trainer. And so often people, will, they have a dog that barks all the time. And so they'll start yelling at the dog, go, shut up! And like, aside from the fact that you don't want to do that because that's what the dog wants, is attention. The idea is that if you have a trained dog, you should be able to tell the dog what to do at a normal conversational value because the dog is listening to you. If you have to yell, then the dog is only waiting. It's like when you're a child and you're playing and your mom's like, okay, time for bed. And you're like, 5 more minutes. And then you hear she's like, right now. I'm like, oh, okay, that's mom's serious voice. Now I got to listen. But before I didn't have to. This is exactly what our boy Chandler, even though he's spot on, he wasted the impact of his voice. And again, with the dogs, it's like if you are telling them to, whatever it is, sit, and you're using conversational volume, and they don't listen, then you have room to then get more stern and then get a little louder and build up to that if you need to. But Chandler just came in hot, screaming, yelling, being too hot. And, this is a good moment for him, but it's just not landing as hard as it could.
Axing or trying to axe DACA, where these people were registered with the federal government. They were in school. They were.
What do you guys think about DACA? Should DACA people be allowed to stay? DACA, I forget what it stands for, but the people who, came here for anchor babies, people who were not anchor babies. No, it was. So DACA is when you're not born here, but you were brought here as an infant. And so they're not technically citizens, but this is the only home they've ever known.
They were doing everything that they needed to do. They had no home elsewhere. They were brought into this country as minors.
Right.
Like, what's the explanation for
I
that?
think that requires more nuance. Like I mentioned before, I think there were some people. I think there were some people feeding him bad policy advice, thinking, "Oh, this will be really good for your base," and he's doing a lot as a president.
That's okay. That's okay if we feel that way.
That's cope, though. Like every time somebody says something that you don't like and has a legitimate reason for a thing that you don't like, then you just say it's infantilization. That's not an argument. You have to explain. You have to explain how it is infantilizing and how, if it were somebody else, we would treat it differently. You're just saying things.
So if
Justin's gotta go. Thank you so much for hanging out, brothers. Until next time, see ya.
I take responsibility for something. If I say he has responsibility for something, well, then you're right. But if I'm saying, well, maybe there are some people around him advising him falsely,
dude,
it's infantilizing.
He was the president.
There's no good way.
He called the shots. What are you talking about?
So you think Biden is calling the shots? Come on, bro. You gotta be a little bit less tribalistic. Because when people can see through the fact that you're just saying the things that go to your side, nobody's going to listen. At least if you pretend that you're trying to have a good faith conversation, then you might win some people over. But this ain't it. At least, even Chandler's coming in and yelling at people and still making good points. But this ain't it.
only path forward to solving illegal immigration starts with amnesty for everybody here. The reality is there's some 10 to 15 million illegal immigrants here. We're not deporting them all.
Ooh, that's another tough one. Because I agree. I don't think there is any way to deport tens of millions of people. I don't think it is a good message to send to just say like, well, oh, well, you got one over on us. But if that comes with stronger border patrol going, stronger border patrol going forward, I'd at least be willing to say like, okay, the people that are here, you can stay here, but now there's no question about closing the border, about making sure that everybody comes legally, all that stuff. Sanders said Israel just did it to all the Africans. We can totally deport all illegals. Yeah, but I mean, how many Africans were in Israel? 12 million? I mean, theoretically, yes. I do believe that if you're not a citizen of this country and you don't have the proper paperwork to be here, then you shouldn't be here. But 12 million people? What is the way? What is the way that we would do that? That wouldn't cost more money. Yeah. That wouldn't cost more money to than to just fold them into society and get the at least the tax revenue from them.
With the people who are already here, that's a lot more of a messy, nuanced conversation. But as far as people coming in, I do think we need stronger borders and actual vetting happening.
And I just want to say, in Ronald Reagan's day, he was given the promise. He said, look, if you go ahead and you pass this particular bill, we'll give these people amnesty and we're done. And it didn't happen. We didn't. Illegal immigration continued even after Reagan already said we would give these people amnesty.
Did not know that. I did not know that. As any film is saying here, Reagan got talked into granting amnesty in the 80s with the promise from the Democrats the border would be closed off and secured. That didn't happen, did it? So, I mean, again, that doesn't change the fact that having to deal with 12 million people is definitely an issue. But, oh man, I didn't that makes it a lot harder for a liberal today to make this argument now, doesn't it? Makes it a lot harder. Yeah, no. This time I promise. For real, I promise. Always these shady little backroom deals that never benefit the American citizen. What about the American citizen? Heaven forbid the government of America cares about the citizens of America. Xander says, and return to, he said, I agree. We should forgive some and DACA, but put an immediate freeze on all incoming and returning people and return people to the legal wait list. I have an aunt from Colombia on the list for 20 years. I'm down for immigration, but make it legal. Yeah, exactly the same. My parents came here as legal immigrants, and the only reason I'm allowed to, live the privileged and great life that I have is because they were allowed into this country, but they did it the right way.
So that's why we get a burr up our butt, because he had already done it.
Hopefully the devil's giving him amnesty.
True.
That's terrible.
No, that's bad.
Wait, what? I missed that. What did he say?
So that's why we get a burr up our butt, because he had already done it.
Hopefully the devil's giving him amnesty.
Hopefully the devil's giving him amnesty. What?
Loser.
That was so okay. All right. Whatever you say, dude. Any films has 12 million. Okay, let's send 5 million to NYC, 5 million to LA, 1 million to San Francisco, and 1 million to Portland. Let's do it. I am down. And realistically, if we, if it's not that all these immigrants are kind of stuck in one place, it would be easier for local jurisdictions to be able to work with the federal government to get to organize the illegal immigrants that are in their jurisdiction, as opposed to it just being like the Border Patrol or the FBI or whatever. Not a bad idea. Certainly, at least, would change some minds. We were just talking about Eric Adams, who, in the sanctuary state of New York, And then they get bust up there, and he's like, "Oh, we don't have homes for people. We don't. It's gonna cost us so much money." It's like, yeah, bro, that's what we told you. That's what we told you. That's what we been saying. But sometimes people got to learn the hard way. Nick says, if they're willing to become a citizen, I will welcome them to America. But if they don't want to even learn to speak English, I'll show them the door and tell them not to let it hit them in the ass. Tell them, Nick. Tell them. Although my media said my brain, the buffer, so my brain, after hearing what he said twice, is still not getting it. Okay, at least it's not just me. At least it's not just me. No, he's saying that he's going to hell. So hopefully the devil is going to give him amnesty because he's going to hell. So funny, right? Good one.
True.
That's terrible.
No, that's base. Thank you.
Tasteless.
Wow.
The amount of satisfaction those two got from that joke makes me want to throw up. Oh, yeah, that's based, dude. No, seriously, for real. Devil giving him amnesty. That's based. Yeah, exactly. Such an edgelord.
Loser. Ninth circle, baby.
Ninth circle, baby. Yeah, sweet, bro.
My political beliefs have changed from the past.
Okay, my political beliefs have changed from the past is the new prompt. That's an interesting one because it doesn't give a time frame. So I would hope that, Chandler here is a young buck. So I don't know how much time he would have had to change his opinions, but I would hope that everyone would step forward, because as you continue to learn things, as you continue to have more life experience, that should change how you view the world. Trad Guy Travel says, with all the stores closing, leaving, and getting looted, I'm surprised Portland still has anywhere to shop for groceries. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't know how people are getting by. It's a whole different type of society out there. I don't know.
I grew up in a conservative household, actually, in Ohio. And my parents were always pretty political, so I always stayed political. I was very religious as a teenager. Sometime during college and then afterwards, especially during COVID, my sister actually indoctrinated me into a more leftist position. And I overcorrected a little bit. I started becoming...
No, really? Says the guy wearing a Hunter Biden 2024 shirt?
Loser!
Shout out to Ayush. Welcome to the party, Ayush. Said, as a One Piece fan, I'm saddened by the kind of losers who are wearing the One Piece merch on the show here. I tried to watch that, and it was not for me. But I can appreciate that you're not happy that they're wearing it. But wasn't my thing. At least Melty's got you. You guys, yeah. I don't know. Maybe explain to me what I'm missing about One Piece, but just not me.
Pretty cringy as far as sit down and let the minorities all talk, right? Don't say anything, don't speak over them, etc. They would, it was like the whole you can't speak over Candace Owens even if she's literally a Nazi kind of thing.
Really, bro? This guy's just a walking meme. He's a walking NPC meme.
So I stand by that.
I know you do. Again, notice how that's the second time that he said something and he paused, knowing that it was going to get a weird reaction, and then addressed the same thing. Yeah, I do actually mean that. Yeah, I stand by that. Normal people don't have to say that. When you would only have to say that if what you're saying is ridiculous. Yeah, I'm good on that.
So, yeah, I kind of leveled out, thankfully, and I'm less cringe now.
No, you're not. I mean, okay, maybe you're less cringe now, but you're definitely still very cringe.
Did you?
He took my line. Did you? No! Nah, you ain't chill out. Yeah.
Cringed.
Yeah. This is leveled out. Imagine if you been here a year ago.
I mean, maybe I am being cringe. Who cares?
Who cares? Who cares? I don't care. I'm right, and I don't care. Any film said Candace Owens is literally a Nazi, which is why all of us old white guys are in love with her. Makes perfect sense to me.
So I grew up conservative, but I did have more left-leaning ideas about like Black Lives Matter and critical race theory, and I was watching a lot of YouTube, and you know, I did agree that Black people were oppressed and all of these different things, and that we were kind of got the short end of the stick. And during 2020, when there was, you know, everything crazy was happening, and I started organizing rallies against the mandates because I thought that they were just totally unconstitutional and un-American. And then George Floyd dies. And initially I was like,
just so we're clear, I was doing the claps for her saying the mandates were bad, not for George Floyd dying.
Enraged like everybody else. And then it started to become this weird, like, political, like, agenda masquerading or behind his face. Like, it just, the face of what was actually happening started to peel off. And I was like, oh, I mean, I would counter protest BLM activists at my town square when I lived in Texas. And they were some of the most just bitter, vile, horrible people you could ever meet. Meanwhile, like the Confederate group that would protest there against them also, they were like the nicest people ever to me, ironically.
I grew up in a Democratic, not a Democratic household, but kind of apolitical, but everybody was Democrat. And then I got a job. And when I got a job and I saw all the taxes come out and I started looking to the left and to the
You remember there was I think it was a TikTok or I don't know, but Instagram post, something like that, of Cardi B. She went buck wild saying, you know, her check is like, all these taxes, I don't know where my taxes are going. Da, 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 da. It's like, yeah, everything is all about, you know, Black Lives Matter and this and that when you're broke. But when you got money coming in and then the government takes half of it, changes your mind a little bit. A little bit.
right and going, oh, my money's whittling away over here. And I said, you know what? After Reagan, I'm just going to go ahead and declare myself a Republican. And I've been a Republican ever since.
My mom is pretty liberal. She married my stepdad when I was like 15, 16.
Why are they talking about their parents? Like, okay, just because you grew, like, I want to hear about if you thought a different thing before and you thought it now, and then you think now, what do you think about that? I don't, maybe that's just me, but personally, the idea of what your parents were is not really relevant to the conversation. Daniel said, that's how all the Nazis are going to have their Aryan children, is with Candace Owens. Do you want to break it to him, or should I?
16 in high school, and he's super conservative, like loved Trump, diehard Trump fan. And they had a lot of like back and forth, hearing the two sides, like people who are on such polar opposites, just like.
So remember, the prompt is up in the corner here. So the prompt is, my political beliefs have changed from the past. But yeah, hard to remember when they're talking about all their parents. But speaking of parents, our running poll, should DACA people be allowed to stay? We're at 60% yes. Interesting. And I think I'll end it there because I would agree that there should be a mechanism. So I don't think it should be automatic. I don't think we should just have automatic amnesty. You should have to register yourself. And I'm sure there's already some type of, you know, list somewhere. But you'd have to go through something. Like, it's not, you don't just get it. It doesn't have to be hard, but there has to be a barrier to entry. So that if you don't do this very, very, very simple thing to stay in the only place that you ever knew as your home, then you don't deserve to be here. I think that's pretty fair. Shout out to Guam Jack. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Said I knew she was going to blame her conservative parents for why they're Democrat. Pretty standard fare these days. Yup. Welcome to the party, brother. Any Film says, my earliest political memory is the Carter-Reagan election of 1980 and being upset with my mom for voting Carter. I mean, I guess it is relevant how, you know, the environment that we grew up in and how that affects like how we saw the world as we left childhood. But, you know, these people are old enough that I want to hear about, like, if you were 25 and liberal and then became conservative or vice versa, what that was like. Like, just following your parents and then thinking of things on your own. That's not really an interesting story. Meltamai Media says, if you are DACA, if you want to stay, stay. If not, bye. I'm pretty sure they all want to stay. They don't have anywhere else to go. But they're not citizens. Daniel says, what was that Michael J. Fox show in the exact opposite of what we do today? Oh, come on. Yeah, he had hippie parents and he was a conservative guy. Not Three's Company. Oh, somebody help out. What was the Michael J. Fox show where he had hippie parents and he was a conservative guy? Help us out.
Like argue all the time about stuff, seeing that there's a lot of similarities in both sides, like the far radical left and the far radical right, they have a lot of similarities. They just don't want to come and like see it.
I started off actually kind of similar.
Well, it's not that they don't want to see it. Like, yes, there's similarities between people who are extreme in their ideology, but the differences are very stark in what they actually believe. It's not as simple as just like, oh, well, you're extreme and I'm extreme, so we're the same. No, it's like you're extreme about very different things. Family ties. There we go. Thank you. Family ties. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what Daniel was talking about.
To you, I went to a Jesuit high school. I grew up very conservative. My mom is Cuban, so ride or die Bush supporter, who is now a ride or die Trump supporter. I think the point of my life when I was the most like libertarian was probably the lowest point of my life financially, and I think it's
did they do that? I didn't have that, Eagle.
Point of my life when I was the most like libertarian was probably the lowest point of my life financially, and I think it's because something that conservatives do really well is they make you feel like you can always like succeed as long as you work hard enough, and that's something that progressives and liberals suck at. That you're a victim of systemic racism, you're black so you're going to be discriminated against, you're a woman so nobody's going to care about your feelings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas Republicans will tell you, listen, if you work hard, you can do whatever you want, like just as long as you're willing to put in the work. And I felt that way up to the moment where I was losing my house, where I had an ex-girlfriend that was pregnant, where I had been fired from my previous job. There was a whole bunch of horrible stuff going on in my life, and I very, very luckily got into online content creation. And from
why is that lucky? How is that lucky? Anybody can just start a YouTube channel. Anybody can start a Twitch channel. It might be lucky that your shit blew up, but it's not lucky that you got into online content. That's just a thing that you do. Like any of you can start a YouTube channel right now and have a video up before this stream is over. Quantex said, "Dear Lord, I cannot stand these women that speak in constant crying tone. It's a crying tone and the upspeak. I'm like, oh, I don't know, but I think if we're gonna fix things, and I just, they're the same on either side."
From there, as I started to make more money, I started to pay more taxes. When I get older and I look at taxes that come out of my paycheck, I care a little bit, but it was just so funny to me that back when I was making $15,000, $20,000 a year, I'm like, I gotta vote for the lower tax bracket, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm barely paying any taxes anyways. And now that I'm older, like if the government wants to take, a few, 10, 20, whatever, how many more $1,000 out.
You just said you worked hard.
I did, but I got very, very, very lucky doing so. Very lucky.
And that's okay. That's okay. Some people are lucky. Some people are not as lucky. That doesn't mean that you didn't work hard. This is at least the progressive mindset, is that I was lucky, therefore I don't deserve the hard work that the rewards from the hard work that I put in. Yes, it's great to acknowledge the privileges, the advantages that you have in life, but there's a lot of different ways that can manifest, and you just being white is not really a relevant one. I mean, it can be, but not in the sweeping way that they all try to make it sound.
Do you think it's just luck?
It's not just luck, but the difference is that born into a wealthier family, you can make so many more mistakes in life. And when you're born poor, you get like one or two before your life is over. And that's really sad to me.
Yeah, so I
guess that's true. I wouldn't disagree with that. But again, what he talked about was not luck.
To be a liberal. I voted for Bernie Sanders in 2016, as much as I regret that now. My family was pretty left-wing. Some of the people in my family were like radically left, like would refer to white people as blue-eyed, red-headed devils, things of that nature. And as I got older, I actually started being really outspoken for BLM. I was supposed to be on a reality show teaching people how to be a BLM activist.
Well, let's thank our heaven, whatever that didn't happen. Sanders said, "Destiny is such a simp." Guantex said, "I honestly do like Destiny now that he's moved more center over the past couple of years. He still has more left-leaning opinions, but doesn't just attack the other side as horrible humans, unlike Bosch." Yeah, I agree. I really do like Destiny. I appreciate his work. Again, there's a lot that I disagree with him about, but I think he's really good for the general conversation. Influence says, "Step away for a second. He's talking about Hunter Biden getting so many chances." No, he was just saying that, because he said if you're rich, then you have a lot more opportunities to mess up. And if you're poor, maybe you mess up 1 or 2 times and your life is over, which not necessarily untrue, but that doesn't take away from your hard work. That's just not, those are just 2 different things.
At the time, I did a deep dive on BLM and I started to realize all of these lies. So then I took a step back. I'm like, okay, what else am I being lied to about? And I started
Red
looking
pill
into the Democratic
moment.
Party and questioning my own loyalty to being on the left.
I personally think both sides tend to be racist in different ways. I don't think the government is on the side of the people in general, and that's just me being, a radical.
When I was young, I used to jump for joy and say, oh yeah, Obama, black president, that's so amazing. He's the same color as me. But when I started to do more research, one of the biggest things I was confused about is, well, why is he a Democrat? What is a Democrat? I did more research about the Democrat Party. And sure, you guys are going to pop off about the head saying, oh, there's a party switch in the Southern strategy and all these things.
Which is true.
Is it though? Is it though?
Which you may say is true. I don't believe it is true at all.
You're
I
wrong.
understand,
Based. I like how he did that. He's like, you may say it's true. I don't believe it's true at all. Like, that's a good way to acknowledge, hey, I hear that you're saying that, but I disagree, and I'm going to continue with my point. Without yelling, without trying to, be underhanded anyway. Well done. Well done. Sanders says, listen, a rich white conservative can lose it all in one tweet. Blanket statements don't help, and choosing the victim route is pathetic. Yeah, that is true. But I mean, we can't argue with the fact that money absolutely helps you in the legal system. There's no argument against that. It is obviously true that if you have more money, you are less likely to end up in jail for committing the same crimes as somebody who has less money. That is unequivocally true. I mean, we don't have to simp for the liberal agenda just because there are certain things that they say that happen to coincide with reality. It's true. If you have more money, or if you have enough money, you will likely never end up in jail, regardless of what you do. You can literally murder someone, and you probably won't end up in jail. But that's not the end of the story. That's just one piece of it. Melted by Media said there was no switch. They were the Dixiecrats.
You may think I'm wrong.
You are.
However, one of the biggest questions I had was, why is Obama in the same party as the people that started the KKK, the same people that voted against the Civil Rights Act, the same people that are on the news talking about how black people aren't able to accomplish anything and need to be on welfare and need to be promoted with affirmative action and things of that nature?
I also, in terms of, I guess, of my political journey, I was raised conservative, actually. And then high school became, I guess, sort of apolitical. And then throughout college and I guess just throughout my life since then, I think I guess you can call me a progressive, you can call me, socialist, whatever you, but I guess that.
I don't know if it's just a liberal thing, if it's a progressive thing, if it's a socialist thing, or what. But first of all, why do they all sound so into their voice and they don't even really pronounce things, right? And like, well, I guess you could say I grew up conservative, and I, say it with your chest. Speak up, man. Exactly. Oh, sorry, that just drove me insane. Listen to it again.
I guess just throughout my life since then.
No, and in fact, I do think he did get his soy latte.
I think I guess you can call me a progressive, you can call me, socialist, whatever you, but I guess that's, in the area of where I fall. You said that you were a Bernie fan in 2016, and then you transitioned to being, I guess, more conservative.
Yeah, say it with your chest. That always surprises me. I never understand how that happens. Hey, shout out to Hugh Janus. Love that name. Welcome to the party. But yeah, the I forgot what I was gonna say. Hold on, what were we talking about?
Bernie fan.
Oh, people who grew up conservative and then became liberal. Like, the old saying, if you're not a liberal when you're young, you have no heart. If you're not more conservative when you're older, then you have no brain. How did you do it backwards? I find the same thing about when it comes to religion. It makes sense to me if you grew up in the church and then you fell away from religion. But actually, I guess that's and never mind. That's a whole different point. But welcome to the party, Hugh Janus.
In 2016, and then you transitioned to being, I guess, more conservative. I guess, I don't know. To me, Bernie Sanders, from what he said to what you think now, what was the shift?
Well, when he stopped saying millionaires because he became a millionaire, you know, that changes things.
For me, it was socialism, because back then I was a very broke college kid, and I just had this mentality that everything should be free, and I was feeling a bit entitled, like everything should be handed to me because I was black, because I was very much in that mentality. As I learned more about
the brainwashing,
learned more about capitalism, I started to appreciate that much more. I started to appreciate small business much more, limited government, low regulations. I just started to like that much more. But I would say just more when it comes to economics, I don't agree with him.
Reparations are necessary.
All right. So I believe, oh no, we got one more after this, but the new prompt, reparations are necessary. I assume that none of the conservatives are going to step forward and that they are mainly going to talk about how, no, they're not necessary because I am a capable person. I don't need you to save me. That's the only logical response to this. Nick said, totally, this kid needs to be on T, unlike the rest of his people his age. Got him. Yeah, the billionaires, not the millionaires. Well, millionaires are totally fine now because, you know, we got a house, you know, we got an extra house, and the millionaires, but the billionaires, they are the real ones, the billionaires. Base Destiny, stand back. Well, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, he has some bad opinions. He absolutely has some bad opinions. But the fact is, the dude is the based as a progressive is going to get. Ever said I'm down to take all the money given to Ukraine and give it to Americans. All right, I'm down with that. If we're going to take that same pot of money and say, okay, we can either give it to Ukraine or we can give it to Black Americans. I mean, if you're going to get rid of the money anyway, at least put it in circulation of things that's going to help me out too. Smart. Any Film said, how about this epic move? The conservatives that are Black hold their hands out to these two guys and say, hey, give us some money for reparations. I wonder how that would play out. In fact, I would, yeah, well said. And we got one more here. Xander Cruz said, if anyone deserves American tax dollars, it's the American people. Bail us out. Hell yeah. That's the ideal. How about they just don't take the money in the first place? That's really what should happen. But it's the government. That's their only purpose, right? He says, George Washington said that we should not get entangled with European politics. Maybe we should listen to him. I agree. All right. So reparations are, this is the prompt, are necessary. So, of course, unsurprisingly, we got our soy boys.
When we talk about reparations, I think that doing reparations in the way
we're gonna talk about reparations. All right, here's what it is, bro. All right, I know what's good. If you probably already know what's good, but over here we know what's good. Is reparations Shut up!
That a lot of people think of it, where we just give it to Black people. I'm not an expert on this, but I think it would be more income-based, and that in itself, like I said earlier.
Look at Renee. Look, she's like, this white boy has no idea what he's talking about.
Would disproportionately benefit Black people, because if you recognize that they are disproportionately affected by a systemic injustice, then doing it on like a class level would uplift proportionally more Black people than white people or any other race.
Yeah, I think like mostly like Black GIs that were left out of like the New Deal, for instance.
Facts, bro. Guantek says fake confidence is just as cringe as no confidence, if not worse. There was I just put out a video with Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan talking about Bill Cosby. And one of the lines Jordan Peterson said, he was quoting somebody else, but he said, don't be better than you are. Not to mean don't improve yourself, but in the moment, Don't try to project yourself as to be someone who's better than you actually are. Just be who you are and continue to improve that person, but don't be better than you are.
That to be able to come back and as a white American, as a white veteran, to get a home loan and then build that generational wealth, you could not get that as a Black American.
You sure about that?
So there needs to be, I think, reparations. I don't care really what form it comes from. I think free healthcare, free college, so that everyone has like an equal opportunity to educate themselves, to build a better life for themselves. So it's sort of like, and I think Germany is also a perfect model to follow. You know, by issuing, first of all, a formal apology, which we haven't even done that.
Sorry, what did he say? Was he saying anything important? I was falling asleep. Any film said, okay, so he wants to do reparations for the Black people that are low income. Does that mean somehow the Black people that are successful weren't affected by the systemic injustice? No, the logic would tell us that that is exactly what he means. But that's the problem with these policy positions, is that it took you 5 seconds to just plan that out in your head. Yet he's here on a soundstage with a video that's going to go out to almost 750,000 people in a day, and hasn't thought this far out. Like, what are you doing? Well, he says he wants his free soy. It's getting up there in price. Yeah, he needs the reparations for himself. Xander Cruz said, I'm so sick and tired of America having to solely pay for the sin of slavery, but yet no other country who also has a history of slavery is ostracized. Slavery is a human thing. Why should Americans pay? Well said. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the Civil War was the earliest fight to nationwide get rid of slavery of any nation. Is that correct? I could be pulling that out of my ass, but I'm pretty sure. So, if anything, the slave owners that still exist in other countries should be paying white people here for not having slaves. That's a joke. Based, yes. And yep, white Americans ended slavery.
But also just like donating to like different, funds, and you know, just I think a more equitable society for that is reparations in itself.
I have no problems with reparations if they had happened initially during the slavery or the civil rights movement.
True. Sometimes you missed an opportunity. Sometimes you just miss the boat. It is too far away. It is too long away. You just can't, separate out how that actually works. Hey, shout out to Guam Tech. Thank you, sir. Said latte on me, buddy. Just promise no soy milk. I promise. No soy in this house. Morty, look, this is for you. Guam Tech said latte. Thank you, sir. Very, very much appreciated.
Any of that. But to try and do that now, logistically, just doesn't really make any sense. And where would this money come from? We're in so much debt as a nation. Would I get this money? I'm biracial or triracial. Do mixed people get it? And do Irish people get reparations?
Do I have to pay? Considering my family got here in the 1980s, the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on of why it is just something that maybe could have possibly happened hundreds of years ago, but now it is just it's just too far gone. It's just too far gone. Although, he said, no, England didn't have slaves by the Civil War. Okay, fair enough. I was going to call you Indian film because I saw TIJ and I'm thinking, my brain's all over the place. But bingo. He says, bingo, the United States already paid in blood to end slavery. Well said, sir. Well said. We paid in blood. Daniel Cabrera said, do we give the black slave owners reparations too? Maybe. Xander says, well, then white men in general ended slavery. Yes, sir, they did. Daniel said, how about the slaves owned by black slave owners? Do they get double? Yeah, I mean, you guys get it. You guys get it. It's too far
And they
gone.
were indentured servants.
I think for reparations, if you can find specific instances of somebody being like actually deprived of something, whether specific instances of like the 40 acres and a meal promise, or whether you can find specific cases of like Chinese people building railroads or Irish people, or whatever, people being deprived of things, that's okay. But otherwise, yeah, it's a logistical nightmare. There's no possible way that we'd be able to do it well.
Yeah, exactly. This is kind of what I was saying, and honestly, not far off from what Destiny was saying from a different perspective. The logistical nightmare. He says, "How do you even know how much anyone should pay for reparations?" He says he's white, but my ancestors were all too poor to own slaves, for example. So should I not have to pay for it while others do? Exactly. It's just too complicated at this point. I don't think that reparations would have been the worst thing. I think that it is very clear that an entire swath of people were horribly, horribly mistreated. But I mean, what can you do? What can you do? Meldemai Media said the Middle East was the worst on their slaves, literally walking them barefoot in the Sahara Desert and castrating them. Jesus Christ. Any film says, from now on, I am the Indian film, Bali film. Oh, comment of the night. Both of you, comment of the night. Xander Cruz said, I feel like reparations are on par with the student loans promise. They want to get the support to get voted in, but know that it isn't a legit cause. I agree. It's just it's a talking point. That's all it is. No, we all know that it would all the things that you guys are bringing up and more. There's just too much. There's just too much, and it's not worth the time and energy and money that it would need to do all of these things. And instead of just moving on, you're good. You've got all the rights that you need. Yes, it was fucked up in the past, but it is what it is.
America's unique because we have bent over backwards for decades now, putting minorities in a position of privilege. I feel like we have done so much to give back to the communities that were obviously wronged. And I agree with both of you. Like, had this happened a long time ago, I would understand it. If we had specific incidences that we could trace where people were just completely screwed over, I would respect it. But right now, I don't deserve a payment for something my great-great-great-great-grandparents went through. And I don't think that white people are responsible for paying that to me either.
I know we don't want to use the word virtue signaling, but it's sort of like a bribe for a vote in a way, at least in my
facts. It is a bribe for a vote. Bingo. A bribe for a vote. That's all it is. Because if you're saying that, like we've brought up too many times, there is too many, just aspects that you are not going to be able to iron out. It's just not going to happen. Xander Cruz said, it's a talking point to further divide white and black folk as a distraction from the fact everyone's getting poor and a select few are getting richer. Yep, you know it. You know it.
Opinion. In states like California, where they've been throwing around the idea of, oh, we want to pay out this much money to every black citizen in there, in this state, it's like, oh, are you serious? Because this is kind of like a joke, in my opinion.
I mean, it is a joke, but also, yes, they're serious.
I think that if we impose reparations now, I think it would rip America apart. I think that we're already separated enough as it is, and now you're going to have people walking around going, "You owe me money. You owe me money. I'm not paying you any money." It would just really rip us apart.
Giving somebody money doesn't mean anything if they don't know what to do with the money or how to handle the money. So if the
facts. Oh, let's play that one more time. I forget her name, but spot on. Spot on. What did she just say?
You owe me money. You owe me money. I'm not paying you any money. It would just really rip us apart.
Giving somebody money doesn't mean anything if they don't know what to do with the money or how to handle the money.
Giving somebody money doesn't mean anything if they don't know what to do with the money or how to handle the money. Exactly. This is what I was talking about earlier when they were talking about affirmative action, and we were talking about lottery winners. How often do lottery winners end up broker than they were before they won the lottery? Nick says, and we are a young country in the history of the world. The racist white men who voted to give the right to vote to black men, to women, we are such bad people. We should be ashamed.
How dare you?
Exactly. You bad white man. Yeah, we got that one. And yeah, I know you like my sound effects, huh?
So if the primary issue in Black culture or with Black people is generational trauma, then maybe they need more therapy than they need money, honestly.
Which conservatives are also against.
Well, that's
Conservatives are against therapy now? What? Bro, you are a walking meme. You are a walking meme. I'm speechless. I'm speechless at how stupid this guy is. Daniel said we're a baby in time, but we're the adult fucking diaper to the rest of the goddamn world. Damn straight. Damn straight. I just need another moment. This guy is, I mean. All right. Okay. Let's. Nick gives me this comment. It'll bring me back because I can't deal with the retardation. Nick says they'll use anything to divide us that works. Race, sex, sexuality, political party. You know, anything personal to get dogmatic about. Well said, sir. Well said. All right, let's get back to this dumbass.
Maybe they need more therapy than they need money, honestly.
Facts.
Which conservatives are also against.
well, that's kind of my argument. Like, if there is like that, like
Why did nobody speak up? Why did nobody be like, what in the fuck are you talking about?
generational trauma or whatever, like I think examples of like free healthcare, they could see a therapist and not be, fall into debt. And I think
what you mean is universal healthcare, because healthcare cannot be free because it is a person offering you services and or products. So you might mean universal, but it's not free. It's not free. Hey, shout out to Xander Crew out sponsoring himself. Said all the categories are distractions to make us look away from a satanic pedos running the world. Divide and conquer in plain sight. Thank you, sir. Let's get Morty his treat here. Eat it. Yay! Thank you, sir. And of course, that makes you the same sponsor of the stream. Thank you so much. Real quick, D-Trick, welcome to the party, brother. Said, watch someone call opposite day on repetition payout day. Here's your money. Uno reverse. Whoops. That would be awesome. That would be hilarious. Welcome to the party, brother. Welcome.
the argument of like the logistical nightmares of it, I think if we want to pay for something in this country, we usually find a way to do it, especially when it comes to the military. So
yeah, true, bro, but that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing that they just print money out of nowhere. So just because they do a bad thing over here doesn't mean it's good to do a bad thing over here. Two wrongs don't make a right.
I mean, we pay for multi-billion-dollar
It's
jets
not
all
the
the
dollars,
time.
it's who's supposed to get them.
Not to attack progressives, but that is like the most progressive idea in the world. Is like I can see the headlines like reparations voted on in Congress to be paid in the form of free therapy for people in the hood. That just sounds like the funniest thing in the world. But
Well, I also don't think it's gonna come directly from like, white person to black person. Like, oh, you.
It is though. It is though. It is because it's going to go through tax dollars. You think we're going to go through and look at the families and then look at the descendants and to, regardless of where they are on the socioeconomic scale, be like, well, this rich black person, they were enslaved by your family hundreds of years ago. And despite the fact that they make 10 times as much money as you do, you now need to pay them.
What? Oh, hell no.
Your lineage affected his lineage.
It is though. Like in San Francisco, they were going to raise the average family, or the average household in San Francisco was expected to pay $600,000 each with the $5 million per black person proposal that they had. And I used to live in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I was repulsed by that because you have so many homeless veterans on the streets, and they were going to give black people a home for as little as $1.
What?
That's a good point. A good point. We have a lot of Americans who need a lot more help than those who, on the whole, just black. If black is the only thing that you're using to say to create this group, there are other groups that need way more help. There's other groups who would be willing to take that help in a way that, you know what I mean? Daniel says every American has to go on finding your roots. Then you can figure out how much reparations you owe. Nah.
just for being black. Mind you, slavery wasn't even in California. So why that was going to be the case, like, I don't understand, but it's extremely unrealistic to think that the average family in San Francisco can afford that.
That's because Newsom wants to get reelected.
Okay, but you don't really care
Precisely.
about homeless veterans, right? Like,
Of course not. He's conservative. Conservatives don't care about anybody, right? I'm speechless. I'm speechless.
like
That's just
you
a
don't
laughable
support.
idea.
You don't
I
know
feel like
me.
all your arguments are ad
But
hominem.
you're
Literally
here as a
every
conservative.
single one
But
ad
you're here as a
hominem.
conservative. So so
Well,
what?
you're just a conservative. You don't actually care about things. Conservatives don't care about things. All of the people who don't like what Biden is doing right now, they're all racist people who want to punch black people in the face because that's what being conservative is, right? I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Xander Cruz says, I'm down to take all of the money, give all the money given to war, Ukraine, and give it to the veterans and black slavery descendant. If you're American, then I'd rather the money go to you than Biden's friends in Ukraine.
Bingo.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. I mean, if we're going to be giving this money away, at least keep it in our local economy. At least. But no. Biden's gotta do his due. And, you know, our boy over here is riding for Hunter Biden. Daniel says, as much as I like Jay-Z and his music, that motherfucker don't need none of my money. I would much rather take his. But he earned it, so he gets to keep it. America!
Policies do you support for homeless veterans?
There's ways to address, I mean,
Specifically.
for homeless in general,
That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say that we didn't find a middle ground in there.
Yeah.
All right.
No shit. Hey, shout out to Unwanted Foe. Welcome to the party. Puppy break time. Thank you. Oh, wait. They gotta see it. They're paying good money for it. Thank you so much. Unwanted Foe. Very much appreciated.
But that's a great ending note.
All right, so I already put up a poll for this one. Do white liberals have a savior complex? So we had 100% yes. And here you can see they had 67% yes. So about 2/3 said yes. I'm very interested to see where these guys take it because, the fact that we're seeing white liberals and the black conservatives. So it'll be very hard for a white liberal to argue against the black person in front of them saying like, yes, y'all do be like this. But I'm here for it. Dietrich says, I like how this soy goober mentioned earlier. He wouldn't mind if the reparations didn't just go to black people, but we should follow Germany's example and apologize. Apologize to non-blacks for what?
What?
I don't know, just for being white, I guess, for being white. How dare you be white?
White liberals have a savior complex.
Yup. Oh wait, whoa, okay, all right. So they're all gonna go forward, and all the white people are gonna be like, yeah, white people totally do that. I don't, but everybody else does, but not me. I swear, not me. Unwanted Foe said, yeah, as Andrew Cruz said, apologizing for existing. Unwanted Foe said, white savior complex in order to disguise their racism. Exactly. Anyville said, I believe Congress already did that a couple years ago. And also, we never want to follow Germany's example. Yeah, maybe not the best country to model ourselves after. I mean, they got nice cars. But I don't know. I mean, they want to be saviors. Absolutely. Because they think they are superior. Because they are white. Sounds like a thing that they project onto other people all the time. What's the thing when you are white and you think you're supreme over others? I don't know. It's not coming to me. Hugh says, I'm sure some white liberals do not have a savior complex and simply support the ideas morally, but I'm sure the others definitely think that they are some sort of saints. Well said. Yeah, I mean, talking about painting with a broad brush. It's obviously not every liberal, but where you're going to see a white savior complex, if we're talking about left and right, if we're talking about Republican, Democrat, you're not going to see it on the Republican side. And that's not because it just all Republicans are racist. It's because we're not racist. It's because you see race in everything. And somehow that makes you not racist.
What?
Xander said to Dietrich, they literally want all white men to get on their knees and weep for forgiveness for succeeding in a dog-eat-dog world. They make one hell of a watch, too. Indeed. All right. What could they possibly say?
I gotta say, this is a shock. I never expected all 4 of you to just come forward and admit it.
Yeah. Me too. Dietrich says, next we should model our financial infrastructure off the Venezuelan success story. Sign me up.
You know what? I'm happy with these results.
I just think it's a lot of people, I guess, people, of the left, whatever, can kind of fall into that trap of thinking that, Black people as a monolith need to be saved as as a whole.
I have no shame about it. I have a savior complex as an older brother.
Here we go. I have no shame about it. Yeah, I said that. I'm sticking by that. That's actually what I said. We heard you, bro. This guy is... I want to hear in full. No.
As a whole.
I have no shame about it. I have a savior complex as an older brother, and I will save you whether you like it or not. So.
Did you just say that Black people are like your little sibling?
That's just me.
Well, it's definitely not, because a lot of us are really just exhausted of being viewed as our skin color. Because when you have this mindset that you need to save Black people and we're just sitting here minding our own business and living our lives the way we want to, I don't know why it is that people feel this immense pressure to be so apologetic and just always trying to cater and coddle to Black people when we just want to be treated like everybody else. We're equal for a reason.
I think especially recently with a lot of riot stuff that's gone on or protest stuff that's gone on, people on the left tend to infantilize a lot of different types of protesters. And especially...
There we go. There's the destiny I know. Come on. There you go. He is the only one who could say, yeah, other white liberals have this complex, but not me. Say what you will about his wrong opinions, but he definitely does not take it easy on Black people in a good way, meaning he treats them like equal people. Santa Cruz said, Hawaiian shirt man doesn't understand just how racist what he said was. Yep. Any film asked if he thinks he's a troll? No, not at all. He is very, very much in line with what so many people, I bet if we look in the comments, remind me to do that before this is over. Let's look at the comments and see what people say about the guy in the hat. Because I think a lot of people are going to agree with him. Oh, you're so brave for standing up and saying that, even though they... I bet you. No, he's not joking at all. He is dead serious. This is, again, why we have to continue to talk about these things over and over and over again. Because we have to get through to people like that. And this is really what they think. He just says, when you're such a Chad, you have to tell others how Chad your Chadness is. Yep. Then I said, the bigotry of soft expectations. The world is hard. It's hard for all of us. Yeah. I mean, it might be harder for some, but you assuming that because of somebody's skin color, that you have an easier life than them is racism. Wonderful said, I will save you whether you like it or not. It's terrifying. What does he view as saving or things people need to be saved from? Good question. Let's keep this up as he talks. But let's let Destiny cook for once.
People on the left tend to infantilize a lot of different types of protesters, and especially even talking to some of the other Black content creators I do content with. When you hear a lot of progressives come out and say, well, they don't have a choice but to riot or break into the store, or, well, they're stealing, these electronics or shoes for good reasons, you just don't realize it. I think a lot of people kind of look both ways, and it's a little bit weird that there's such a complex on the left to excuse like every single possible negative behavior from somebody, as long as they're a skin color that you're kind of in charge of protecting.
I find that very offensive.
Yeah.
I find it extremely, it upsets me to hear that, because we're just like you. We just have a different skin color, and to hear that you have to help me is offensive to me. I can do it on my own.
Well, we have to break down sometimes why these riots.
Oh no, bro. Bro, you're not gonna double down right now. Like, there's black people in front of you telling you right now that they don't want you to act as their savior. But you're gonna save them anyway, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not.
It's happened. You know, MLK once said that riots are the voice of the unheard. So if you are to address the problem and stop the riots, you have to address the underlying inequality that has historically been pervasive. You know, even if you as individual people are doing fine and you don't want anybody else to get in the way of that, that's cool, and I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to be the one to get in the way.
But you just said you were. I will save you whether you like it or not. You just said that. And she just told you she doesn't want to be viewed that way. And you said, too bad, I'm white, which makes me right.
But the disparities are undeniable.
So
disparity does not mean discrimination.
if you take pride in having like a white savior complex, what is it that you think that you're doing to save black people, and what is it that you think that you're saving black people from?
I am trying.
Let's go. Unwanted vote on the nail on the head.
Trying to make the world a better place through whatever means I can. And
oh, I'm trying to make the world a better place. I'm such a perfect person that I can save all of the blacks.
You're doing it on the backs of us.
I wouldn't say so.
Yeah,
that's you did say so, sir. I don't remember if I don't know if you remember what you just said, but you literally just said that.
I actually do. I feel like you want to be a savior for, and you're using me to make yourself feel good. That's what I'm
How am I
hearing.
hurting you?
You're not letting me have my own voice. You're not letting me speak.
How? You're speaking now?
You just interrupted her. You literally right now in the thing. You're doing the thing right now. How are people this lacking in self-awareness? I don't get it. How am I hurting you? I'm letting you speak, he says, as he's not letting her speak.
Stupid.
Dietrich says, I'm such a hero. I pull over on the side of the road when I see a black man in cuffs as a drug dog hits on his car. I tell the officer, that's my Kraken handgun, you uninformed bigots. Probably not, right? Probably not. Xander Cruz says, this is liberalism in a nutshell. The blue liberal telling the minority how they should feel. I've had white men and women talk like this to me in college. Just, oh, you don't realize you're oppressed. You just don't get it. But I'm here. I'm better than you. I'm smarter than you. I can do anything and you can't. So I'm going to make it okay for you.
What?
Hey, shout out to Indie Film. Said, here's some reparations for you. Oh my goodness. Said, sorry we took your land. I'm such a... This is good. This is good. This is funny. Oh man, there you go. Eat it up. Eat it up. Eat it up. Eat it up. It's right there, you dummy. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm good. My whole being is now complete because my plight, my trauma has been acknowledged and reparations have been made. Indie Film is a good man. He's a good man. He's a good man. Thank you, Indie Film. What would we do without you?
You're cutting her off.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I have to.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I feel like I have to. Yes, we understand that. You feel like you have to. You feel like you have to. It has nothing to do with her. It's about you. I mean, you can't make this shit up.
Feel good. That's what I'm
How am I
hearing.
hurting you?
You're not letting me have my own voice. You're not letting me speak.
How? You're speaking now?
No,
You're cutting her off.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I have to.
Yeah. Well, what's happening? I mean, you're speaking right now. You're speaking right now in this particular setting.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're saying is, like, you took it back to riots and so forth, and it makes it seem like the only way that we as Black people can have a voice is by riots, and then you need to come along and you need to say, okay, poor little Black child, let me help you. Let me help you. That's offensive to me.
Get it, Renee. She is my favorite one. She is my favorite one on this panel. She is doing the damn thing. Hugh says, way back in the 1800s, there were progressives that wanted to end racism by deporting all the black people to Africa, despite them repeatedly saying, no, we don't want that. Savior complexes are scary. Yeah. Insane.
And I feel like you're making yourself feel good about trying to tame, help us. And
I also think that, like, when we talk about damage, I think especially when it comes to a lot of the shoplifting stuff that's going on in certain cities, we get a lot of white people that live in nice suburbs saying things like shoplifting is no big deal, that's fine. And then you'll catch YouTube videos of them later on being in a Walgreens in like a shoddy neighborhood, and they're like, man, why is everything all locked up? The deodorant behind a locked case. It's very easy to sit behind a gated community and say, oh, well, you know, it's not a big deal, you know. They steal because they have to. Riots are the language of the unheard. I think people haven't read the full context of that quote. When MLK was saying riots are the language of the unheard, you need to address the underlying condition. He wasn't condoning the rioting. He was just understanding it.
Obviously, there are
Based destiny. Let's go. That's the destiny I know and love. Despite the fact that there are many disagreements, I do love that shit. Xander Cruz said, at the end of the day, virtue signaling is a self-defense mechanism that white liberals do to prove that they aren't like the other white people. It's disgraceful and not empathy. It is selfishness.
Bingo.
Yeah, exactly right. It goes on to say it's actually survivalism. On a subconscious level, they fear the mob as well and must prove that they are different. Facts, brother. Spit them facts. Yeah, every thief is Aladdin. Did you hear when what's his name? The Ian from H3H3 literally used Aladdin when they were talking about riots and shoplifting, and I think it was that big 50-person thing at Nordstrom that I covered. It was like, well, you know, like in Aladdin, they didn't say he was a bad person. No, because he was stealing bread to feed himself. Not, you know, Nikes because they're there. Yeah. Come on. Hey, we got David in the building. Welcome to the party, brother. Good to see you.
a bunch of white people that feel they need to be a savior, but I think there's a difference between helping and saving. Like, I don't think I would need to save black people, but I would tremendously love to help. And
that's fair. I'm totally fine with that.
And make sure everyone has like equal outcome, or not equal outcome, but at least equal opportunity.
Said the quiet part out loud there, bro.
Which, in my opinion, I feel we do not have in this country.
All right, so she disagreed. This is one of the black conservatives disagreeing with the prompt that white liberals have a savior complex. So let's see what her disagreement is with the statement. Dietrich says, we need more money for inner city schools. No one taught these kids that Nike and Gucci are not in the food pyramid. Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's just the things that are going to actually help people. What do you say? Say. What are you doing? The things that are actually going to help people are not sexy. They're not sexy things to campaign on. And so the idea is to get people excited on things that sound nice, but either don't actually help or can't actually be done. And that's both sides. Hugh said Aladdin did not burn down local businesses to make a political point. Exactly. And that's why it's not a relevant comparison. Xander said he does want equal outcome, aka communism. Yep, he said it. He corrected himself, but Freudian slip, maybe. I don't know if y'all saw that. He was about to knock my guitar over, and I would not be happy about it. What are you doing? Oh, he's scratching. Okay. They don't want to help. They don't want your help, skinny play. Yeah, right. Exactly. They don't need that. But here we have, our black conservative disagreeing with the notion. So let's see.
Awkward. Hi guys. So I didn't step forward just because.
Again, why is she sitting so weird?
Because I don't want to broad brush all white liberals as having a white savior complex. I have experienced white liberals who do have that, and they're very unpleasant people. But I don't think every single white person who's a liberal or who is an activist for BLM or any of those things necessarily has a white savior complex. I think that there's a lot of white people who genuinely think that Black people are oppressed and they want to help, and that's what they're told.
What it seems like to me, when most people have savior complex, regardless of whom they're trying to save, it's like they're taking real pain and real trauma and using that as a way to push this political agenda, but also to alleviate themselves of whatever guilt that they feel unnecessarily. Like, I don't know why a white person today would feel guilty for things that happened decades ago.
Because they are brainwashed and told that it's their fault. They are told that.
Let alone something that happened centuries ago.
I've never seen a white person say, I personally feel guilty for slavery. Maybe
promise
they're
you I
out there, but I've never heard that.
Yeah, in second grade, when they taught us about slavery, almost every kid in my classroom would spend their entire time looking at Black kids in that classroom. How was I supposed to not think, wow, these people are feeling guilty for something that they have no involvement in and I have no involvement in?
Every kid in my classroom understood the context.
Oh, really? Did you ask them? You asked all the kids in your 4th grade class when you were learning about slavery whether they understood the context, and they were able to recite to you, yes, I understand that this is something that happened long ago and that we don't necessarily directly have to feel guilty for it, but it is something that happened. And stop the cap. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Listen to that again.
Looking at Black kids in that classroom. How was I supposed to not think, wow, these people are feeling guilty for something that they have no involvement in and I have no involvement in?
So that is a personal experience. I can see that other people are looking towards me, and I can tell what a look of guilt feels like or looks like. So I can see that. And he could be wrong. He could be wrong. But probably not, right? Probably not, right? And then homeboy, come on. Homeboy wants to say, no, I know exactly what all of the kids in my 6th grade class were thinking when I was in 6th grade.
What?
A kid in my classroom understood the context. So.
No, I think he's, unless I misunderstood, he's saying at the time that he learned about slavery, all the kids in his classroom understood the context. Let's back this up and see for sure. That's what I think he's saying. I don't think he's saying he's a teacher.
In second,
feel guilty for slavery. Maybe they're out there, but I've never heard that.
Yeah, in second grade, when they taught us about slavery.
So he's saying in 2nd grade when they taught us
slavery, almost every kid in my classroom would spend their entire time looking at Black kids in that classroom.
And now, dude's gonna say,
how was I supposed to not think, wow, these people are feeling guilty for something that they have no involvement in and I have no involvement in?
Every kid in my classroom understood the context.
Again, I will say, how the fuck could you know that?
People hate feeling uncomfortable, and obviously you don't want to feel like the bad guy, and so I feel like it comes from a place of like, oh, well, like, let me make sure that I'm different, and like, I'm showing you that I want to like help you, but it comes across like, I think it can land very poorly.
I'll tell you what, stop it. Stop it. Because what happens is when you put yourself as the white savior, what you do is you elevate yourself above the Black person because you feel then like you have to save us. So just stop it. Just treat everybody regular and normal, just like I would treat you regular and normal.
Regular normal. That's what we want. David said there were definitely zero indicators when I was a kid that any of my classmates felt responsible for slavery. And again, maybe that's the case, but what indicators in 2nd grade would you be aware of to look for in other kids? It's not a one-to-one. In 2nd grade, you can look at other people and see that they have a certain look on their face. You can't look at them and see and understand how they're thinking about this. I took my class. Yeah, no. He's talking about when he was in 2nd grade. As is David. Am I mistaken what you're saying? That you remember, what is that, 15 years ago? What the faces of the kids look like in your class? On the particular days that you were talking about? So like, what? Come on, bro. No, of course you wouldn't have the mindset to analyze others like that in 2nd grade. Of course not. I don't know why you, it's fine. It's fine that sometimes people were I mean, it's not fun, but it's fine that happened. We don't have to pretend it didn't. But don't be like Hunter Biden here, saying that I knew in 2nd grade. I can remember today, right now, that in 2nd grade, something that I didn't think about until you just brought it up, off the top of my head, I remember. No. Stop the cap. Xander said, liberals crave superiority and mask it with false empathy. Yup.
You treat us regular, normal, rather than trying to save us.
I just got one thing I wanted to bring up earlier about taxes, because you were saying that you had your job and you were talking about how like you get the tax every time and you're like seeing your tax go up. I worked in nursing homes in 2020 COVID. The last
you're such a great man.
Last thing that was on my mind when I watched
here we go with the
60 and 70-year-olds on
grandstanding.
their deathbeds suffocating to death was taxes. I was worried about healthcare. I didn't give a shit about taxes in that time. So when I go to work every day, that's what I see. That's what I want to fix.
I see you once again.
Shut up! How about that?
Shut up!
Dietrich says, so I'm a big brother that defends the black race and their right to express their grievances. Also, hush up, Blackie. I'm trying to save you. Yep. David says, I remember general types of conversations around slavery at the time, and among them, we caused slavery came up 0 times. Okay, so we didn't cause slavery come up at all? Because otherwise, then you just are saying that because somebody didn't say a thing, that they didn't think or feel a thing. Is that your position? That because you didn't hear them say, we caused slavery, that they could not have thought in 2nd grade? You're comfortable making that statement now? Yep, pretty much. I mean, I guess if that's what you're looking at and thinking about in 2nd grade, then that's probably not a good development. Wonderful says, so go run for mayor or something like that. Yeah, I mean, exactly. If you're so able to fix everything, then what are you doing here? Go do actually something that is actually going to help. Not that this isn't not helping at all, but you know what I mean. When someone says they don't care about how high taxes are, they stop being a person in my eyes and are 100% confirmed NPC or state fed planned. Yep. And David said, are you comfortable assuming that they did feel that with 0 evidence? No, I'm not assuming anything. You're the one assuming. No, you made the statement. I did not say that. I did not make a claim about what your 2nd grade class felt about anything. You said there were 0 indicators. Fine, maybe there were 0 indicators, but feeling guilt is not necessarily going to have an indicator that a 2nd grade boy is going to pick up on. Maybe there was no guilt. Maybe. I'm not saying that you are right or wrong in this. I'm saying you cannot know this. There is no way that when you were in 2nd grade, you had the mental capability to understand what other kids in your class were feeling. Just because they didn't say, oh, you mean we caused slavery? Doesn't mean that they didn't think it. I'm not saying that they did think it. I'm just saying you can't say that they didn't think it. That's not what I'm asking you to prove. You're trying to prove a positive that you don't have evidence for. In the same way that all these religious people will say, God, 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 God. You don't prove that God doesn't exist. I'm just the one here asking for the evidence. You made the claim. Why are we making claims that we can't back up? If you say a thing, you should have evidence to that thing. I didn't say you were wrong. I just said you can't possibly know that. In the same way that anybody says that God exists, they can't possibly know that. Meltdown Media said, if you were a kid that thought you were helped by slavery, would you bring it up? Exactly. Anyone says, is it wrong that I had a fling with my 2nd grade? Oh, wrong one. Yes, that is wrong. What are you doing? Do you want to come here? What do you want? Oh my God, this dog is insane. All right.
That's what I want to fix.
I see you once again elevating yourself above the rest of us.
Renee for the win!
And particularly at me, a white man elevating himself above a black person.
He called me a bootlicker. He called me a bootlicker.
Oh no, I triggered them all. I'm sorry.
Oh, going back. Oh, I triggered you all. Oh, triggered, bro. You got triggered, bro. Yeah, dude. Oh, I'm so sorry. I triggered you. How is this not blatant racism?
Oh, I'm not
Sorry.
tricking. I'm chilling, buddy.
Yes,
So what
you
I
are.
hope comes
Oh,
out
I'm
of this
chilling.
conversation is that we're all Americans, and because we're all Americans, we know that America has a bunch of problems, and I think every person here wants to solve the problems, and I think everybody's bringing what they have to the table with their ideas on how to get us to unify. This kind of stuff, right? But you got something in there. Hopefully, I mean, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you have something in there that's redeeming about you that would bring all of Americans together. So I hope that we end on the note of American.
You and I.
Let's go, Renee. End on the note of American. What is it that I talk about every single day to you guys? It's not about your race. It's not about your religion. It's about the values that you hold. And if you have American values, then we are all on the same team. Shout out to Renee. Hell yeah. Xander Cruz said, back in the day, slavery was taught in a historical way, but today it is taught in an emotional propagandized way, and is much more poignant as a lesson plan to prop up the blue liberal narrative. Yep, but it's not CRT. Don't call it CRT, because CRT is a college level course that they're not teaching. They're just using the praxis of the critical race theory. So if you call it CRT, then they're gonna know that you're ignorant. That's what I mean. He said he just needs to call them all Uncle Toms and leave. Dude says the response was in reference to the conservative who made the claim that kids were made to feel responsible for slavery, when there's no indication that that was the case. Pointing that out is like pointing to a lack of evidence in religious debates. Wrong. What you are doing is pointing to a lack of religion. What he is saying is that I experienced this thing. I said he could have been wrong. Run the tape back. I said he could have been wrong, but it is much more reasonable for a second grader to look at another person and see their facial expression. I prefer critical race applied principles. I'm saying that that kid is much more likely to be able to tell guilt or some type of sadness on the face of another person than you would be to be able to tell guilt when you're not even looking for that. How would you know to look for that? Any Film said this guy probably goes to gay bars and yells homos and then says, sorry, I triggered you. Yeah, sounds about right.
ITY.
I would like to say we're all made in the image of God, and so we're all have our inherent worth just because we're made in his image, and we should treat each other as fellow image bearers, not just by the color of our skin. I mean, as Martin Luther King said.
He also did not like capitalism.
I think something that's really challenging, I've definitely been guilty in the past of throwing around the Uncle Tom word. I used to be hardcore progressive. I'm still relatively progressive. But something that I've learned as time has gone on is being a white person isolates you from a lot of the different types of racial struggles that people go through. And those struggles can take a lot of different forms. Not just, was my ancestor a slave, and not just is my culture bad, but sometimes in the way that, people grow and develop, right? Like, am I actually choosing these political beliefs because they mean something to me, or is it because I'm Black or my parents are Black? If I speak a certain way, am I betraying my race? If I am a political orientation, am I a bootlicker? And I think that it's important when you're coming from a progressive point of view to understand that even though there are conservatives that are Black people, you have to treat them as individuals and not just come at it with this, like, you're Black, you're a conservative, therefore here's like 6 or 7 different slurs that I can use against you, but they're approved because I happen to be on the progressive side.
Based. All right, so before we end this, I want to see what the comments are like. So let's see. Oh, I hate when they do this. All right. So I'd love to see a gay conservative versus straight liberals episode. That would be interesting. White liberals who have a savior complex are very unpleasant people. Camera pans to Alec. Alex Black. So I'm guessing Hunter Biden's name is Alec. And if you missed it, I'm calling him Hunter Biden because he's wearing a hat that says Hunter Biden 2024. Alex's lack of self-awareness is insane. I'm saying I used to be so annoying and cringe, and now I've gotten better. And everyone immediately responding like, have you really? I hated seeing Alec choose to address a lot of prompts the way he did, not seeing the irony and cutting off a Black participant multiple times. Another thing that is self-triggered Alec really has to correct all the Black people in the group. He's got a real problem with anger, and it showed near the end. Alec gets the award for the most insufferable person on the internet. Show this conversation to any independent out there, and Alec would turn them all conservative. Nice to see nice to see a young Black woman like Destiny speak for her people. That's a good one. Alec comes off as the kind of guy who's like, give black people a voice while speaking over them. Well, he doesn't come off as that person. He literally was that person. Finally, representation was strong, but all right. Alec definitely the type of guy to bottle his own farts. What else we got? Destiny has figured out the timing so well, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so I mean, we're seeing a lot of opinions that are kind of in the same realm, and it's not like Jubilee is some, partisan channel. If anything, they're way more left than anything else. A couple more here. Black conservatives and even conservatives of other minorities are always so intellectual. You can tell they know what they're talking about. Doesn't take much brain to be a liberal. All it takes is emotions and believing what you're told by the mainstream media. Everyone in this debate was relatively respectful besides Alec. All right, man. All right, I gotta. All right. So thank you so much, guys. Give me 1 sec. I'll be there in a moment. Big shout out to everybody who contributed. Shout out to. Well, actually, let me hold off. Shout out to Guam Tech. What is good? Shout out to Unwanted Foe. Shout out to Indie Film, and of course, the sponsor of the stream, Xander Crew. Thank you so much. As you can hear, morning. See what I mean? You gotta use the yelling appropriately. But thank you so much, guys. I really do appreciate every single second that you spend here with me. And I know you could be doing anything else, but just hang out with me, and that really means a lot. Big thank you to everybody who contributed. But even if you can't, even if you're just spending time with me, again, that really does mean a lot to me. Don't forget, I'm dropping new videos every single day, and we are headed right over to the after party in the Discord server. It is free to join. Link in the description. Thank you so much for hanging out, guys. One more time, that is Biff, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, we are out of here. Peace.